Hello, and welcome back to The Contraband, where 6 Shakespeare actors play Blades in the Dark, an RPG about daring criminals seeking their fortunes in the haunted industrial city of Doskvol. This show is smuggled to you under the noses of corrupt police by Ghostlight RPGs, an ancient order keeping the lamplit even when theaters are dark. If this midnight masquerade pleases you, we humbly invite you to follow us into the dark underworld or subscribe by showing the secret pass key at the garden gate. I'm Ted Bushman, I'm the game master. Joining me on this tale of salt and sea wind, paintings and poignards, escapes and escapades are Jamie Hansen, Ben Isaacs, Kristen Perkins, Graham Ward, and Carson Wright. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tell us who you're playing. And that. Tell us who you're playing. So, Jamie.
Hello, yes, I'm Jamie Hansen. I'm playing Varric Lomond, spoiled rich boy, currently under the thrall of something or other. Yeah.
Yes. Ben.
I am Ben Isaacs. I am playing Hix Templeton, the psychedelic spider.
Precisely. Kristen Perkins.
Hi, I'm Kristen, and I'm playing the nameless girl, who goes by many names and is a lurk.
Yeah, that's who you're playing. Graham.
Hi, Graham Ward here. I am playing Bram Borden, the cutter. His and my pronouns are he, him, by the way.
Yes,
and
pronouns.
What else do you want to... You'll learn everything you need to know about me by watching these sessions.
Great job. Yeah, you're an ex-academic pugilist, and maybe anarchist. I don't think exactly that. That's a bit of a reductive view, perhaps.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
I don't want to be uncharitable. And then finally, Carson Wright.
Wonderful. I'm Carson Wright, he, him, and I play Aldo Basran, who is a former field doctor, having done some military service, doing a little bit of this and that, making drugs, making medicine. Sometimes those are the same thing, sometimes blowing stuff up, sometimes, there's just a lot to get done out there,
Yep. And a lot of it that has to do with creepy chemicals.
What? It's fine.
It's all chemicals in the end, Ted.
That's right.
That's it all boils down to.
It's all natural in that way.
Love it. Our content warning. The Contraband is a crime drama set in a dark and unpleasant city. Episodes will almost certainly contain strong language and violence, and may occasionally also include sex, oppressive working conditions, and encounters with the gruesome undead. So, put on your mask, turn your face away from the pouring rain, and descend with us into the Contraband. Kristen, your character finds herself standing in a second-room floor in a rickety building of salvaged wood, squished into an alleyway of the Tangletown slum, a floating neighborhood in between Silkshore and Crowsfoot. The floor is angled beneath you ever so slightly as this building has been sort of constructed on a ramshackle sways. The river is beneath you all, just 20 feet down beneath planks of rotten wood. This room has a focal point. There are 3 paintings leaning against a rickety wooden table. They're wrapped in canvas and tied with twine. These paintings are your quarry, a package to return to the Keltree Sisterhood in their grand estate in 6 Towers. Around these paintings spreads the evidences and components of a ritual. A white substance that on first walking in you thought might be chalk is spread in spiraling shapes on the wooden floor. You realize as you kick it aside with your feet that those thick grains are salt. There are candles as well, adhesed to the wooden floor by their own melted wax, and a whitish paint has been used to scrawl in spirals across the ceiling like the ravings of a madman. And, speaking of madmen, you can see your obstacles. There are people defending the painting. There's 6 people wearing black in this room, and one of them is ascending the stairs to your right. The people are hunched and emaciated, wearing black rags, brandishing wicked-looking, half-rusted knives. These people bear the physical hallmarks of junkies and the tattoos of occult believers. They're talking amongst themselves. To you, it isn't clear. You hear one say, "I told you we kept these too long. We had to sell them." Another one says, "Oh, you don't know." And another is muttering, "They're not pleased at all." You are in the room with 2 accomplices. One of them is Hix Templeton. The 2 of you just swung in on a rope from a nearby rooftop, A New Hope style, shattering the wooden blinds and flying through the window. The other is Varric Lomond. He just staggered up the stairs a moment ago, crying histrionically something about feeling the power. He's doing all right in your recent acting practice that the 2 of you have been doing. But then as he was in the middle of this performance, he stopped, frozen in his tracks. And for a moment, you're like, oh, this is really good. This is like a great bit of performance from him. And then his eyes locked onto the paintings. And when he looked back at you for a moment, you saw the rolling of ocean waves in his eyes and a bit of foam coming out of the corners of his eyes, like tears. He looks confused. So you need to get to these paintings, get out, and get from here to 6 Towers without being killed, and preferably causing as little commotion as possible. You've always found in your life that when you were in the thick of it, you were the first person to react. You have these ridiculously good reflexes. So what are you going to do?
Can I ask a clarifying question? Does it seem
Absolutely.
like they are about to attack us?
Yeah, these people they're definitely feeling as if they're being assaulted. People are drawing these wicked curved knives. There's this priestess actually in the middle of this priestess, you're actually not sure. This very androgynous person with shoulder length hair who has a burning candle pressed up against her palm, and you can see the flame beginning to burn and make her flesh crackle. And as she's doing so, fog is rolling in through the windows as she's sort of speaking in this strange tongue. They seem definitely just about ready to pounce.
Great. Or, not great, but thank you for the point of clarification. I would love to try and reach the occultist who has the candle into their palm and is causing the fog to come in through the window.
Okay.
I'd like to try and tackle that person to the ground.
That is the ideal use of skirmish, that action, which is to leap at someone and attempt to restrain them in some way. So you can go ahead and
I will aid.
Awesome.
Great. Three.
Oh no!
No.
Was that was with the other dice given to you by Hix? The other die? Okay. So you leap towards this woman across the room, but she is kind of furthest at the back, furthest from the paintings. So 2 of them sort of leap towards you, and before you were able to get to her, you find yourself thrown to the ground in front of these folks, and one of them slashes at you with this long, cruel-looking knife. So you take level 2 harm, which you can choose to resist. I will also point out that as part of your inventory, you have armor, which you can use during the course of a mission, essentially as a free resistance to harm. So if you spend armor, you spend the amount of inventory slots that you would have on something else, and instead you get to resist it, but with no stress involved. So.
Yeah, okay. So I have packed armor then.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. So you're maybe wearing a thicker vest or something underneath your thieving blacks or something.
Right, just some light leather. It's very
Awesome.
sexy.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. It can't be functional, only functional. It has to be
No,
aesthetic
I
as
am
well.
the girl.
I'm sure none of the other members of the crew are wearing anything sexy. We'll see that revealed momentarily.
Save this conversation for the press tour afterwards.
So yeah, this the blade slashes at you but does no damage. Now, the bit of you being knocked to the ground in front of this group of people, you can choose to resist that as well, which would be a separate resistance. Otherwise, you could still be defended by your friends. That's just basically you can. If there are multiple consequences, you can choose to resist multiple, but it's totally your call.
Would it be possible to use the special ability Devil's Footsteps and to perform another action, or can I not do that right after trying to?
Remind me of the text of Devil's Foot.
When I push myself, I am able to perform a feat of athletics that verges on superhuman.
Oh, so I think you would have to probably take another action in the future. So whenever you take another action,
fair.
I think. So let's give Hix and Varric both a chance to act in the meantime. Varric, let me explain a little bit. At the end of last session, you took a type of harm that I called by the tides. Let me explain a little bit what that feels like for you. So how it manifests itself. So you feel physically that you are standing in about a waist deep water. That's like the sense that you get. It doesn't mean that you believe you are, like you know that you're not, but you perceive, like physically it feels like you're being sort of sloshed around, and you feel like you don't have your sea legs, like the ground, even though the ground beneath you is solid, it feels irregular. It slows you down and makes you stagger. So this will affect speed, it'll affect skirmishes, but it wouldn't affect sort of small hand-only things like lock picking or firing a gun. So those would be unaffected. The other effect of Called by the Tide is that some of your senses are filled with noise. You actually have a very strong taste and smell of salt wind and rotted fish in your mouth. You also hear loud seagulls in your ears. You can still hear people, but tasks like study or survey involving those senses may be impaired. As far as you can tell, your eyes are trustworthy. You can see things as they are. And it's possible that as this happens, there may be other effects that the tides may enact upon you, but you can choose. You will be able to choose to resist them if they happen.
And is there any my mind is still clear with the call of the tides. Like these are all just sort of affecting my senses, but I know what our objective is. I know what we're here for.
Yep. You are still yourself. You are not controlled in any way. You simply feel this disorientation through your senses. And also, you did hear the paintings speaking to you to some degree, but they don't. You don't sense them having made any effect upon your mind. And everyone else watching can sort of perceive Varric as being generally normal in his behavior. So yeah, anything from Hix or Varric that you'd like to do actions-wise?
Let her rip, Varric.
I ended up in this mess because I decided to pretend that I was being called by the tides. Where, is there a central? There are markings on the floor and salts, kind of. Did I check before if there was like a focal point of all of it up at the top of the room, right?
Yeah. You checked the last session. The focal point was clearly the paintings themselves, like they were the subject of this ritual to some degree.
Okay, and one of the cultists is near them, who seems to be kind of the chief in charge of this ritual.
Yeah, the androgynous priestess is standing probably closest to them. There's probably two more flanking them, and then several others around, and then there's also one behind you coming up the stairs, the one who had originally tackled you and thrown you inside the house.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to continue staggering towards the paintings, playing up the level that I'm feeling the effects of the tides.
Cool.
Kind of turning head to hear certain seagulls coming. Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. So you're attempting to fool them into perceiving that you are under the
I will say this is still a sway.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, I love it.
And 2 2s. All right, that's a 2.
Okay. So they once again don't perceive you as you're sort of staggering forward, sloshing around. One of them comes up behind you, and they're sort of all shouting to each other and gibbering amongst themselves. And he basically presses you against, like grabs you, presses you against the wall, puts the dagger up at your throat, and says, "What are you all doing here?" So he's not done any harm against you, but you are now grappled essentially by this figure.
All right.
Hix, you're still there. Yeah, you gonna make an action against these guys, and girl, you can also make one soon.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand where we're all at. Me and the girl just came in through the window.
Yes.
Landing on the ground. She gets up, lunges at this person, misses, gets slashed, but is cool. Turn around, see Varric doing some Varric shit. Okay, so I'm seeing all of this. All right, well, cool as a cucumber, I'm going to stand up to my full height and pull out my piece. And I'm going to level it at the person who is grappling my friend Varric, and I'm going to fire.
Amazing.
And perhaps I will. I'm not going to sacrifice position for effect here because these are just some, junkies living in Tangletown. So I'm not too worried. I feel like I'll be able to handle it just fine.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. So yeah, you've got for everyone. Generally, we're in a position where effect is standard and position is risky. So you could push for desperate position to potentially get greater effect, but we're still getting the sense a little bit of how powerful these guys are. So yeah, go ahead and make that roll.
Great. I'm gonna roll hunt because I am aiming calmly down the sight of this pistol.
Yes. Yeah.
And I rolled 2 6s.
Hey!
Okay. So the question is, what is the exact nature of the wound you want to? Oh man, you became blurry with your drunk with success.
That's how it goes. I feel so powerful. Oh.
Yeah. So, what is the exact nature of the wound you want to inflict on this person? Do you want to kill them immediately? Do you want to maim them to a point where they will not be doing anything else? That's like anything you choose is the effect you can have on this guy.
Well, ideally, the gray matter of the brain would be all over the place, and that would be painting a bit of scene, perhaps in my future negotiations.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I love it. So this is you want to make an example of this individual.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ideally.
Yeah. So this guy has Varric, and he's sort of growling at him, and as he sees you sort of rising up to your height, lifting up his pistol, he looks at you and says, "Don't you try it!" And then immediately is like, before his sentence is complete, the inner part of what was once his mind becomes the outer part of wall decor.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Varric's mouth was open as this happened, and he's just like,
Yes. So yeah, and the body collapses down the stairs, flops down, and then flips over itself, sort of as it ragdolls down. So the other cultists all sort of turn, look at Hix with great apprehension. We'll cut away downstairs to the first floor of the building where Bram and Aldo were trying to break into the wall, but had a little bit of trouble immediately getting through, and were attacked instead by 2 of these guys who were sneaking up on them. One of them is soaking wet, as if he has just climbed out of the canal. So they're sitting there, knives ready. What are you guys up to? Bram has a sledgehammer, I believe, in hand currently.
Yes.
And I think, Bram, you took a bit of a slice, as I recall, or did you resist?
I resisted it.
Great.
Yeah.
A little bit. Okay, perfect. But they're trying to shank us.
Yeah, Bram's gonna go straight into, trying to think of the character. Is it John Henry mode? Just start. I'm gonna do like a jab at the jaw of the guy who tried to stab me. With the head of the sledgehammer.
All right, yeah.
And then, if I can, kind of like swing it around and try and trip another one. But we'll do one step at a time here.
Awesome. Yeah, let's make the roll. So this is skirmish.
Yep.
Yeah, and you've just heard the gunshot go off upstairs and a body thud to the ground.
Yeah. So my goal is to get this over as soon as possible so that we can head upstairs.
Absolutely.
That's double sixes. Triple sixes,
Okay, yes.
actually.
Oh,
Yes. Oh, yes.
So, once again, what is the desired state of these individuals when you are
No,
done with them?
I just break his jaw, clip him into the water, and then I'd like to swing around and trip the other one.
Okay, great. Yep. So the guy's
Hopefully clear the pier a little bit.
Yeah, the guy's jaw dislocates, and he sort of lets out a mangled cry, collapsing backwards into a small boat that's there on the side. He collapses and his head smacks against the boat, and then he falls backwards, and his head is in the water, and he's just sort of kicking desperately. He's only attached by one foot, and the other one you then swing around, and the other one's probably hits him in the shin, probably breaks his shin, and then he also collapses with a cry into the water. So they are both dunked. Meanwhile, there is a very small woman, probably in her 40s, who's just snorting something in a boat nearby, and looks up at both you and Aldo after this is happening. And goes, "I don't want no trouble."
I look at Aldo, going upstairs.
Okay.
This is the reason that you couldn't get through the wall with that sledgehammer, is that it wasn't a people-shaped wall. If the wall had been more people-shaped, you would have destroyed it entirely. Bram.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great. So the door they had locked the door on you. That you got it. So what's your method of getting up into the house?
I was.
You had planted some charges, I think, already.
I think I was going to
do so.
Yeah, when you had the sledgehammer, I was gonna try and throw that guy through the wall, but your plan was better. So, I think we're on the side of the house, right? And so it's a bit of a ways around to the front.
Yeah, it's not a huge house, but yes, yeah.
I suppose. I think we'll take off that direction. Unless you think you can break this door down this time, let's just.
I can do it.
All right.
Yeah, let's make a rec action. You can aid if you want.
I will.
Aldo.
I will.
You'll say this part looks weak.
6.
Great. So under the blows of the sledgehammer, boom! This rotten planks of wood and this sort of fish netting holding it together just shatters. You step through it like you would step through cobwebs, and basically you can climb up the wood here to get up onto the second floor into the midst of where the fighting is happening.
Yeah, and I'm just scrambling as quickly as possible.
I will follow him up in like manner.
Yep. So, girl, you hear a couple of Wilhelm screams from down on the pier as these guys get knocked into the into the.
Pretty good.
Pretty
good, Graham.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was way better than mine. Knocked into the river dust.
Keep working on it. There's a place for you.
And then you hear as the wall shatters, all of you feel like the house itself begin to buckle just a little bit. Like a couple more of those might knock the whole thing down. And you hear scrambling as they're headed up, and the androgynous priest, they crouch down next to you and try to grab for you, but you have reflexes, so you can go first. So this is currently, I would say, in a desperate position. You are in the center of the room. You've fallen down. You're surrounded by cultists, which means that the consequences of a failed roll here could be disastrous. But that doesn't mean that your effect is reduced.
Great. Well, I would like to push myself.
Superhuman stuff.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Awesome.
And although not the superhuman effect, I would like to maneuver to confuse my enemies so they mistakenly attack one another.
Ooh, very cool.
Which can I? And I'm on the floor. I'm trying to get away. I'm trying to get to the paintings across on the other side of the room. And as I do that, I'm going to sort of pull maybe the leg of one of them so that they fall on top of the occultist who's grabbing towards me, so that they get confused and attack.
Love it. Yeah, I'm into it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think you, on pushing yourself, I think you just, if I'm understanding the wording of that ability correctly, I think you get that effect essentially no matter what, and then you would take the action in addition to it. Is that what I am to understand?
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, actually, that is sort of the wording of it.
Yeah. So I think you get it. So you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to roll for whether or not that succeeds. Yeah. So basically, I'm going to make a fortune roll to see how badly they harm each other, and then whatever action you want to do in pushing yourself, you can do. Oh yeah, So you're not even. There's not an action associated with this. You're just doing it, and I'm going to roll the fortune roll. Okay. So the priest sort of reaches out towards you with this knife, and you pull one of the other cultists basically into your position, rolling out of the way and like backwards somersaulting towards the paintings. And she like brings the knife down and stabs one of these guys in the arm, and the knife goes through the arm. And he is now like tethered to the floor by this knife that has gone through his arm and into the wood.
Great.
So he's now. Right, man. So now there are 4 cultists left, the priest and 3 others who are still sort of around you generally, but now you sort of rolled generally out of the way. You're no longer in a desperate position.
Great. And so my actual action, I've rolled away. Can I take out a throwing knife and attempt to get them in the back from the where I am behind them?
Heck yeah. I'm into that. Yeah.
Would you say finesse?
I think that's a very reasonable,
Great.
That's a reasonable touch for it, yeah.
6.
Okay, yeah. Who are you going for? Are you going for the priestess?
Yes, the priestess.
Okay, great. So this one with a 6, this one is slightly stronger tier than the others, but takes the wound. The knife slashes into the shoulder, and they cry out. And in doing so, let's see, their like ritual is somewhat interrupted. They look up into the towards the ceiling of these strange painted rituals, and the fog that is coming into the room sort of thickens a little bit. And you also hear this. You all feel this, like this metaphysical tolling of a bell, and sense the presence of a ghost that is being drawn by her creepy spell. No. She then collapses onto her knees and looks like she might be fighting a little bit more, but might just collapse on her own. We'll see exactly how she fares in the next moment. So, meanwhile, Bram and Aldo, you have just ascended to the second floor. What are you up to?
Who's up there?
Everybody's up there, plus 3 cultists.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Where are the targets?
Yeah, so they're still sort of in between you and the paintings.
Okay, I have a bit of a wild idea here that I'm hoping I can do here. The charges I wanted to use, and these are part of a demolition kit that would not be exploding, entire houses. I want to attach them to 1 or 2, preferably cultists, and just their legs. Just the legs.
Just want to blow up their legs.
Just a little bit.
Okay, right. I wanna aid with this using my special ability, foresight. Yeah. And perhaps this is a flashback moment.
Sure.
Where I mean, I don't know. I don't want to pay stress to flashback.
No.
But this is what I'm imagining for foresight is that Aldo, I'm like sitting in the workshop watching Aldo work on these charges, and I'm like, have you ever thought about blowing up people with those?
Well, I mean, they certainly would do the trick. They're nothing, giant, but I mean, people are made of stuff. Buildings are made of stuff. It all explodes.
It's all stuff in the end.
Are you
fade to black? And now take another die, Aldo.
Isn't your criteria for whether something should be used on someone is if it's made of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, what is explosive if not just surgery on bigger stuff? That's fine. Great. Do you even take stress for that, or is foresight just...
I don't take stress for that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a couple free flashback aids.
Excellent.
It's awesome.
I'm hoping to get somebody unawares if I can, but I basically want to kind of stick it into... the charges probably have some kind of pin or something that would hold into what I was doing. So I would like to Ooh, I think I'm going. I mean, Tinker doesn't necessarily feel right because I'm attaching it to a person. So I think I'll try to.
You certainly are interacting with the humors of the body in a very, very broad stroke.
Sure.
You might say.
Prowl would probably be most appropriate for.
I was gonna say Prowl.
Getting it onto.
And can I also push myself a bit?
If you're aided, I don't think you can push yourself. I think aid and pushing yourself are mutually exclusive, if I remember correctly.
I
you
know
got
that
this,
aiding,
baby. Just throw those rocks.
I think it's aiding and devil's bargain.
Oh, devil's bargain. Let's treat it that way. Go ahead and push yourself.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
and I'll look it up. But that's I'm happy to treat it that way. I think that's right.
Well, here we go. I'll rush in and. Oh, good. I rolled 3 dice and I got a 4.
Okay.
Yay,
Okay.
Hey, it's something. It's something.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah,
Thank
that's not bad at all. So
it's not 3 6s.
Yeah, seriously. Freaking Bram's.
Yeah, get good, Aldo.
You guys are wasting these so early.
Yeah. So the charge sets on this individual. You're able to get it onto him. He's sort of uncertain. You hear one of the other cultists start to cry out, sort of in confusion. They say, "The tides will not forgive us. The devourer will not forgive us." And he starts running towards the window as if to leap out. In the meantime, the explosive on this other guy, he looks down at you and goes, "Huh?" And then this, I guess it's a smaller explosive, but it goes off. His body flies and slams against the ceiling. His left leg is gone. And in the larger explosion than you had anticipated, the wall of the building is blown open, the roof buckles a little bit, and you find yourself face to face with a large ghost.
Okay.
So in this moment, you have to immediately, because of the sort of the nature of ghosts, they constantly trigger this flight or fight response. You have to either take a level 1 harm of fear or resist it.
No, I will take a level 1 harm.
Okay. Great.
Is the ghost visible to me?
Yep, he's visible to everyone. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it sort of opens up, and in the dark outside, this is late at night. There's this bluish glow as its hand presses against the inside. It has this long, lanky hair. The features are sharp, but you get a sense that in life this was a woman, and she sort of looks around confusedly and says, "Called me," and her hand reaches out.
I'll drop my sledgehammer and say, "Not exactly the Thomas Crown affair," and then I'll charge forward and take a swing at the ghost. As I do, Bram's hand kind of becomes ghost-like and invisible, slightly invisible. Ooh. And he throws a punch.
Yes. Yeah, make the punch.
Is the ghost near any exit from the building?
A newly constructed exit, yes.
the hole.
You mean destructed exit?
Yes, a newly constructed
Okay, that's
exit.
a 4.
Okay,
right.
Great. So you leap towards the ghost and strike it with your fist. You feel it connect. Normally, no physical action would affect the ghost; it would go straight through. But with this strange energy you've harnessed into your attacks by your sort of study of attunement, you're able to press into it. And she cries out in frustration and holds up her arms. You feel this dreadful cold seep into your limbs. In the meantime, the last of the cultists, the last 2 of the cultists who had been running away sort of in fear, see this moment of confusion of you running towards the ghost, run, and they grab the paintings and are starting to run towards the window as if to get away with them.
I would like to charge after them.
Okay, great. Yeah, make it, Varric. What's your MO? What are you doing with them?
I'd like to
offering them a business deal or
quick, think of that lie.
I'm inspired by everyone. Everyone's jumping in with gusto, so I'm going to charge over at them, and I'm going to try and fling a handful of trance powder in both of their faces.
Cool.
Which could could I say was a finesse roll?
You can say that. Yes, I approve.
Also,
Yes.
my Call by the Tides is a level 2 harm, which gives me -1 dice for
to
physical.
speed. Yeah, it's a speed thing.
Yeah.
So you're trying to run towards them, I think would do that. If you wanted to counterbalance it, you could make the roll desperate and get increased effect.
What will it be, Varric?
But also, what happens when I have 0 dice in something and I try to do it with a -1? I don't have 0 dice in finesse, but I'm wondering if I were to try something like skirmish or wreck.
Yeah,
I mean,
think you just go ahead.
I'm willing to aid. I don't know.
Yeah, you could get extra one from it. I think otherwise you would have to choose a different action, which would then, basically, if you're using an action that's not perfectly suited to the task, it would just be reduced effect, essentially.
Yeah.
So, but it looks like Hix might be willing to help if you need it.
I would love a bit of aid. So
Okay, let's flash back, Varric.
Okay.
There was this one day where you and I got really drunk on the beach together.
I remember it well. Well, actually, I don't remember it very well, but go on.
It was a pretty cool time, but we were standing in the surf up to our waists, and I was like, I bet you can't catch me. And I'm like running away, and we're like chasing each other. It's sort of perhaps the masculine camaraderie that you might find in the film Top Gun during the volleyball scene.
Splashing you.
Just like splashing each other, and it's like, cute.
It's just extremely masculine and camaraderie.
Yeah.
The sweat glistening off of our pecs as we.
Yeah, it's like sort of cute. But we did a lot of running in waist-high water on that day. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'll take
I'm
some
super
stress
into
for this.
Because you haven't done... Because now you've used both
I have used them both up, yes.
Cool, gotcha. Also, we do have an answer from the chat. Socrates himself, who is weighing in on our rules tonight, says that when you have 0 dice or fewer in an action, you roll 2 dice and take the lower result.
That's right.
Oh.
Don't drink the hemlock.
Yeah, don't do it, Socrates. Socrates, I know from the Blades forums, he's extremely active and very helpful.
Very
awesome.
cool.
Welcome.
Awesome.
Glad you're here.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
for being here, man.
All right,
But
so
you do have dice.
Yeah, well, that was I was at a 1 for finesse, then -1 for the Call by the Tides, then +1 for Hix's aid. So it's just a
Nice.
straight roll. You know what? Yeah, I'll trade position for effect. Let's do it.
Great.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah, do it. It's great.
Yep.
I'm into it.
I knew
Oh no!
Okay. So what I'd like to, remembering this this day on the beach with Hix, Varric has remembered that the way to move quickly while wading through waist-high water is to just dive underneath it, swim. And so he sort of just goes in for tries to go for a dive, I think, to get to them. But it is a 1 that I rolled. So.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So in terms of like harm, one of these guys is going to just like in the process of like trying to run out with his painting is just gonna step on you and give you level 1 harm. Which is going to be right hand bruise. I think we'll call that harm.
Okay.
So that'll have reduced effect on things you're doing with. I don't know if we can play Varric as left-handed from now on if that's helpful to you, or whatever. But then. So you had like double increased effect because these guys are tier 0, so you already had greater than normal effect, and then greater on top of that. So I'm just gonna say like the transpatter flows in the direction. They get like slightly confused. They're still on their way to the window and like trying to like push the paintings out of it if they can. Like they're both holding these, so they're still inside. Meanwhile, the ghost has not been completely banished, but now looks kind of angry. You think another solid hit could probably deal with her, but she's still rising up into the inside of this space. Yeah.
Can I try to deal with the ghost a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think Bram, you'll have run past and seen Aldo just like standing, like stuck in his boots, and then eventually sort of shakes himself back. If you'll look though, you'll see that there's a little bit of a bit of a bluish tint kind of rising up out of his shirt that's been sort of blown open and torn by this explosion that you may be slightly familiar with. Otherwise, I think Aldo digs inside of his coat and grabs one of his Lightning 101 projects.
Yeah.
The basic, the sparker, and is going to just light it up and throw it at the thing.
Awesome. Yeah, so this behaves kind of like a taser, or more like a...
It's like a big explosion of electricity.
Energy.
Just yeah.
Nice. Yeah, love it.
And I suppose can I tinker it to detonate right when I want it to, right in front of its face?
Yes.
Okay.
I like this.
Excellent.
This
I will not take any stress.
Yeah.
A 4. I am the 4.
Awesome. Great. So yeah, you send this device, like there's a little bit of processed Leviathan oil in it, and you sort of start it going, and then you guys watch as like little crackles of blue electricity come up from it. He throws it in the direction of the creature. The ghost sort of looks at you, shrieks in your direction, and this blue light of your chest pulses like very brightly, and it strikes, and electric energy strikes not only into the ghost but also into Bram, who takes level 1 harm of electric scorch. You can choose to resist that if you would like.
I'll take it.
Okay, great.
You said it was called what?
Let's say electric scorch, because that sounds cool. Sounds a little bit like Pokemon move, but yeah. So,
Pokemon's great.
And let's say that it hits you sort of in the, let's just say like the right arm and shoulder. Just like slightly reduced effect on stuff related to that. But the ghost in this process sort of clearly angered, shrieks at you, but then flies past you. Although it seems for a moment that she's going to go right towards you, and she flies through the window and is gone. Yeah, the one that originally the girl and Hix had jumped through. She's gone.
Oof. Aldo hits a knee. He's on a knee.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bram too. Bram's like doubled over and is actually visibly weeping.
Oof.
And yes, both of these guys are just knocked to the ground. Varric is sliding on the face first, like teeth scraping the wood, like cartoon stuff. Not actually, that'd be terrible. But now we've got these two cultists who are like still trying desperately to get this painting through. They're both freaked out. One of them actually gives up and leaps out of the building. But there's one more still trying to deal with these paintings.
Okay, I'm going to approach him. And I'm going to pull out a second pistol, and I'm going to command. I'm going to say, stop. I'm going to try to look him in the face. I'm going to be like, stop.
I love it. Yeah, roll command. That's great. This is risky position, but with great effect, because this guy is the last one. He watched you blow the guy's head off. You're in a good position to convince.
I'm gonna push myself.
All right.
And I rolled 2 6s again, Ted.
He says, this is his response. He says, look, those people, they gave me drugs, they gave me things. I don't know what all this stuff was. I don't even know why I was helping get the paintings. Look, I will make sure people don't know what happened here. Right? I'll come up with the story. I'll tell people about it. Basically, he's going to reduce heat by 1 for you guys.
Great.
At the end of the score.
Great. I mean, let's send this junkie out into Tangletown to tell him that nobody did.
Nobody did anything.
Nobody did anything over there, and it's like, Thank you, Junkie. It's like, great. I mean, perhaps like the critical success of it is, in addition to that, it's just like a genuine human connection between Hix and this junkie.
That is a success.
That's a success. According to my value set, I would say that's a critical success.
Yeah.
Some like co-seeing, like what's this person's name? Like, where are they from? Give me the detail. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't really want to know that.
It's Marlowe. His name's Marlowe. And now you're
Marlowe.
gonna know, and I'm gonna put him in the.
Yeah. Marlowe's gonna be our homie on Tingletown. It's gonna be like, Marlowe, I'm sorry I had to end like this, but
with your friend's legs blown off. Guys,
like, I hope you didn't know any of these people, but if you did, it's okay because they're relaxed now. They finally got. It was always headed to this sort
Many
of
of
thing
them are
anyway.
still living, but they're all just incapacitated. I think there's only 2 corpses. So,
That's
I mean,
good.
blown off leg guy may not be long for the world, but yes. Marlowe runs down the stairs and is gone into the night.
Okay. Cool. Well,
did he give us the paintings though?
Yeah. He left the paintings to sort of set them down. You've got these 3 large There's 2 paintings that are pretty large and almost the same size, and then a much smaller 3rd painting.
Let's check on our friends. How's Bram? How's Aldo? How's Varric? How's like they seem to have a bad time there. You doing okay?
Oh, I'm okay. Bram is like trembling, and he stands up and he says, "That's the first time I've really done that. I could feel it. I felt everything, the fear, the loss. Bloody terrible."
Gonna do the reassuring grip on the shoulder when words fail.
On the specific,
on the meat of
probably the meaty part of it, but yeah, totally.
It's all meaty.
It's all meat over there for Bram.
It's also
no
been
his
electro
shoulders.
shot, so don't grab that shoulder.
Yeah, I'm gonna be gentle, of course. I'm always gentle.
Varric's gonna come to his feet, sort of holding his right hand. So, it's like I said, it's very simple, easy in, easy out, no harm done.
And scene.
Does anybody interact with Aldo, who's also collapsed during the fight with the ghost? Or does Aldo do anything particular?
No, I think he's like there for a while, sort of breathing, sort of hyperventilating for a little bit, and as it calms down, he's got a bit of a handle on himself and rubs his chest again and looks down and sort of shrugs it off.
Do you need me to stick you with anything, Aldo? Do you have a needle that you want?
Fuck no.
To carry with you?
And he stands up and he's just like, are we going?
So why?
I would like to cross to the paintings, and I assume they're like wrapped in some way. I would like to be like, what the hell? And then unwrap them. I want to see what is painted.
Okay. There. Yeah. So you, they've got twine. They're tied up with twine and then like brown paper. So you're able to very easily unwrap them and see what they have inside them. There are 3 paintings here. There are 2 landscapes and a portrait. And all of them are marked with the same signature at the bottom right of the painting, which you try to understand for a little bit, but which you eventually realize is not like lettering or a signature, but is maybe iconography, though it's hard to tell exactly what it means. Stylistically, it's this pretty, it's these very dark, dramatic landscapes, green and gray, sort of like. But also like the light is its own character. It's kind of like if Turner was very like emo or punk rock kind of aesthetic. There's 3 of them. One of them is of a hill with like a stone cairn on the top of it. Another one is an island from a sort of higher view with like rivers around it. And the other one is a painting of royalty, but it's this very dark painting She is this pale and slender woman. She is identifiable by the shadow of a crown on her head and one of her rings, which appears to be a sapphire. And she has sunken eyes that look deeply fatigued and is in a strange pose with her fingers curled around an amulet at her neck. So those are the 3 paintings. As you open them, all of you smell like sea air, and feel like a cold breeze come into the room.
I don't like this. I don't know what's happening.
I don't like this at all. This is not just paintings for rich people.
So can you tell us, what do you know exactly, Varric, about the Keltree Sisterhood? What can you tell? Why would they want?
Well, it's quite simple, actually. What do I know about the Keltree Sisterhood? Well, as you all know, I am very careful with who I choose to know about the work we do, and I have vetted all of our potential clients quite carefully. They're just... What do I know about the Cultists?
I see. I see.
This tracks.
I see.
You know, the Keltree family, like I mentioned last time, the Keltree family, is a known entity. It's sort of like the Rockefeller name. It's something that it's a noble family of Doskvol, very well known, and a little bit a family of yesteryear to some degree. They were well connected once upon a time, and now their estate in Six Towers has sort of gone downhill, and so by reputation may have done the Keltree family. Though most of them kind of married off to their own to different families and kind of disappeared. So the idea of the Keltree Sisterhood is sort of seems like maybe an attempt at revitalizing an old family, but one that perhaps has many connections. That's generally what you're aware of there. And the Sisterhood doesn't necessarily purport to be entirely made up of members of the Keltree family, but you're not sure.
Generally speaking, I probably wouldn't have been, if they're a family that's sort of on the outs, I might not have bumped up.
Yeah, unlike the Cleon family and the Rathspans and other people, you probably never interacted with children of these families.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
they're all old and rich and eccentric and wanting to summon ghosts and listen to the call of the sea. It sounds like
rich in a relative sense of the word. I mean, they've got some money. They're obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this job for them. But this rich and rich.
I paid well enough.
Yeah, all right. Okay, well, let's bag these puppies up and get them on the penny and get the fuck out of Tangletown, because it sucks here.
Fun to climb, though.
Wait, say again?
Oh, fun to climb?
Fun to climb here.
Sort of like a jungle gym. I don't know if you're familiar. Jungle gyms. They have them here.
It's great. Anything else you're doing in Tangletown before you leave? Was there anything else that anyone wanted to check out or look at it?
Oh, you should just stop and smell the flowers. Yeah.
It smells like fish for some reason. Still, has anyone else got some vertigo?
So you all get into the penny, you rewrap the paintings, you head out north through the canal, you pass through through Crow's Foot. This is some familiar territory to some of you, and you actually see a gang of ravens who used to be the Crows, a few weeks ago before they took on a new name. They're all new faces. They don't seem to recognize you, but also have no business with you as you're passing on the canal. So it's just sort of a fleeting glimpse of them as you go. But yeah, as you pass through, the waters churn below you as you ride, and Varric, you feel a tug to look down into the water. Do you choose to do so?
I mean, yes. Yeah. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I don't know. Do I?
As you do, yeah. It's the classic Graham Ward question of, who do you touch it? Who opens the door? But as you look down, you see pale fish below the surface of the water, like big, long, like albino barracuda, looking up at you with these very big, toothy mouths. And you feel like the paintings behind you reach out to you as if there's a hand touching your shoulder, and there's sort of whispering noises as it happens. And as this is happening, you guys see Varric sort of leaning out of the boat, looking down into the water, and then looking back at the paintings. And as you guys are passing, you pass by Crow's Foot and are reaching the next canal. So you're kind of sort of halfway there, more than halfway home. You hear the engine of a boat behind you. There is, as you turn around, a large boat, larger than yours, made of military steel, skids out along the water from another canal, sort of like, and this like huge splash of water strikes up against the side of the canal. There are 4 people riding in the boat. 2 of them are manning it, and they wear blue coat uniforms, but with markings that signify them as maybe like part of another branch, and they've got different hats than the others. And the other 2 figures are wearing armor and iron masks. These you recognize as Spirit Wardens. The Spirit Wardens are in charge of managing the occult and making sure that it doesn't, it's hunting down the cults of Doskvol. They're bulky with armor, and one of the wardens is holding out what looks like wind chimes, but if the chimes were each individually made of glowing Leviathan blood, and it's like ringing against itself. And you realize that this might be a device that they are using to track and sense potent occult artifacts. So they are coming towards you. We're going to create 2 clocks, which are first a 6-part clock called "You Escape the Spirit Warden Vessel," and a second one, the Spirit Boat, the Spirit Warden Boat Overtakes You, which is an 8-part clock. So one of you can keep track of those 2 clocks, or I'll keep track of it myself. Yeah, so you feel them coming, you hear them coming towards you. There's some distance behind you. There are like boats in the canal. It's like in the middle of the night that you guys are navigating through. What are you doing? What's your plan?
I walk to the back of the boat and I open up my coat and I grab 2 grenades off my bandolier and I go 1, 2.
Amazing. Fantastic.
Would you like finesse on this?
I would love finesse on this. Like that's a very reasonable role.
Oh,
finesse or Hans would work well. Yeah.
Great, wonderful. I will do that. Okay, 4.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that's
wait, I just realized, are D6s the little triangle pyramid ones?
That's it. That's the D6. Yeah, you count up the points and then the sides. Oh, that's 7. Yeah. So these 2 grenades fly out of your hands. There's a couple other boats in the area, and so one of them strikes against the side of some big metal tanker, and they both splash into the water and create these big boom splashes with little like fires at their hearts. One of them strikes the boat and strikes that one, and the Spirit Warden boat is rocked a little bit, and both of the wardens sort of like steady themselves. The one with the thing is like holding it out like a lantern, and then the other one blocks it as well. They're slowed for a moment, like you hear the blue coat, the 2 blue coats in the back sort of shouting to each other as they're trying to navigate. So we're going to tick 2 ticks forward with with you escaping the vessel. So you're 2 out of 6, and then I'm going to take 1 towards the Spirit Warden boat overtakes you. So you're ahead in the race currently. All right, what else are you guys going to do?
Where did you say we were again?
Yeah, very specifically. Let me give you a specific answer if you were looking at the map of the city.
Yes.
So you're currently in the canal between Charter Hall and Brightstone. It is called the Emperor's Way. So you've just passed over the Great Canal, and they sort of turned south at they turned east at the old bridge, or east, I think, if you were looking at that specific map.
Okay. So would it be fair to assume that Varric, I would know these canals reasonably well, having grown up in Brightstone?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is familiar waters to you.
And I imagine I'm probably piloting the rough penny, because that's usually what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's often the case. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's make that the case.
Cool. I would like to take a hard left turn into one of these smaller canals.
Love it.
And try to lose them in the sort of... I imagine it's like Brightstone houses have their own sort of private docks and kind of
absolutely.
areas.
Yeah, there's like a whole mini maze, and like you knew it because you like sneak in places. Go ahead, Kristen. What were you gonna say?
I think as long as we're sort of maneuvering into a smaller canal with my, athleticism, I'm going to leap from the boat onto the shore. And you said there's private docks, right? So I'm going to untether maybe 2 rich people boats and just shove them into the canal behind us. Get onto the side of the canal, run, and try and leap back into the boat.
Very cool. That's awesome. So let's first do Jamie's roll. This is a prowl, I imagine, attempting to lose them.
Alrighty. Yep. Sounds good.
I am gonna have to, because of Called by the Tides. I feel like. What do you feel like this would? I feel like that would affect you since it's reflex based and all this noise. Does that seem reasonable? Or you can fight me on it.
No, I think that's fair. I was gonna subtract one from it. Okay. I guess the only fight I would have is like, well, we're already on the water, so it kind of feels like. But no, I agree that it's something that I probably don't have the best balance right now.
Here's my pitch. We'll do reduced. So keep the dice, reduced effect, and you could push it to desperate if you want.
I'll stick with reduced effect for now.
Great.
A little.
Cool. Awesome.
You have a devil's bargain?
Oh, do I have a devil's bargain? I love that question. Let's see. Any thoughts from other people what a good devil's bargain would be? You're going into this narrow canal. I mean, eventually hit a dead end is like such a bad devil's bargain because it essentially defeats the purpose of the goal. I don't want to do that.
We could have someone I know, either as a member of my family. Like if we're going into the Brightstone area, I don't think like let anyone really know, like see him doing this sort of thing, like get spotted by someone and recognized maybe.
Yeah, maybe like Kirill or Brace Meriden are like making merry on a bridge, walking home or something, and they're
is that the princess? What?
I have one. So I'm gonna say this as someone you know will see you, and you'll see them, but I'm not gonna tell you who they are until you accept the devil's bargain.
Okay. I'll take that devil's bargain.
Great, I love it. Cool. That's fun.
So that's 3 dice now. Still at reduced effect. Okay, 2 1s, but a 4 is the highest. So it is successful. Breaking the streak.
That's awesome. So that's 2 ticks. You're very close to succeeding at this. You, as far as the consequences go, this is part of both Aldo's 4 and your 4. You see that there is also above the canal, there is a carriage that is also following you pretty narrowly. This is not the family member who's seeing you. You see like there's something else following you rather closely behind, and the door you see rattles open, and there's a foot that steps out onto the side of this carriage. That's all you see for the moment. Meanwhile, as you turn, you guys slow for just a second as you're getting through. You look up. Describe your sister to us, Varric.
So she is 14 years old. She's got a similar face shape to Varric, but she's got kind of shoulder-length blonde hair. Mm-hmm. She's fairly short and has quite a... She's very thoughtful. Thinks a lot more than Varric tends to before she speaks. And yeah, I imagine this is nighttime, so I imagine
she's walking with her tutor, I think.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Probably the one who's helping her do the Mara Hardenbrook scholarship competition.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, you see them. You look up, and it's very surprising this late at night. But it's probably them having come home from like a very late lesson, maybe or something that they're doing elsewhere. But your sister, with her parasol, looks down, sees you, and the tutor, this is rather smart but a bit absent-minded man, says, is there something wrong, my dear? And she like looks at you, catches you in the eye, and like narrows her eyes a little bit, looking at you, and says, "Oh no, it's nothing," and turns the parasol so that the boat can't be seen as the tutor passes by.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So yeah, they disappear down an alleyway, but that's the only interaction you get with them. All right. Meanwhile, girl, you can make your attempts to. So you're trying to knock a couple boats off of their moorings to close the boat. You see behind you, like there's this crackling of this electric engine of the Spirit Wardens as they roar behind you through this canal, which and like it's narrow enough at points that at times you see red sparks flying off the metal sides of this boat as it scratches against the stone canal.
Yeah, so I'm leaping and trying to shove some of the private boats on their private docks into the city. So
love it.
Or into the water. So finesse.
Yes. Yeah, I'll take finesse. I think that's reasonable. Yeah, you're trying to do a sneaky action. That's great.
3.
Oh no. Okay. So what this means is you're going to be one tick towards the thing. So you have actually nearly escaped the boat, but they're about halfway up to you. What happens is you get one of the boats, like you leap off, and so like you guys, the boat is speeding through with this coal engine, just like puttering through these canals, and then the girl just stands up and like leaps off of the boat. This crazy leap, like goes on one side of the boat and then like hops, runs across the thing, like trying to like taking the knife. I don't know if it's a knife like that she's using to untangle these ropes or what, but like keeping pace with the rough penny as she like slashes at this stuff. And one of these boats get unmoored, runs, leaps over the boat, maybe like steps on, Varric's knee or thigh as he's like piloting the boat, and like gets to the other side, slashes another one, but it doesn't take completely. She leaps back into the boat, sort of lets out a sigh of like, whew, I did it. And then boom, someone else lands in the boat. There is a Spirit Warden standing in between all of you who has leapt from the canal above you. He is probably about 6'2". They're about 6'2". Pretty masculine figure. You can probably assume he, wearing these large metal gloves, this huge carved iron mask. Nothing about the face is visible. As you actually know, all Spirit Wardens are anonymous. None of them are ever identified, and people who become recruited for them lose their identities completely. He does not speak at all, but simply like looks around at all of you and like begins to reach towards the paintings. So the boat is still behind you, potentially trying to catch up with you, but you're really close to outrunning it, and this guy is in the boat with you.
Sledgehammer?
I will aid. I'm gonna like get down on my hands and knees behind them or whatever. Or I mean, I don't know, whatever the equivalent of aiding Bram would be.
That's great. So just to be aware, Spirit Wardens are tier 4 individuals. So your effect is reduced by 3 times in your attempts to take him down, which means that standard effect would be reduced to 0 effect unless you can beef that up. So what you can do is push yourself to increase effect as opposed to just giving yourself another die. And then also you can sacrifice position for effect. So you're currently in risky. You could push to desperate to increase effect again. So
yes, I'll do both of those.
Okay, awesome.
So that's 2 stress for the push, and then my goal really is to knock him off the boat.
Yeah, you're not trying to kill him.
No, I mean, I could try to kill him, but I feel like that is
he's covered in iron.
Okay, so I'm pushing, and then were you assisting me?
Oh yeah, baby.
All right, so you can take another die.
4 dice.
All right, yeah, this is pretty good. This could happen.
That's a 5. No, it's a 6. It's a 6.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
All right.
So many dice.
couldn't read them all in time. Amazing. So this guy, is just standing here like this mountain. The boat is like severely sunk deeper in the water as this is like you can hear the engine behind you sort of choke as water fills some of its workings. The sledgehammer comes up and the Spirit Warden just looks at you, Graham, and you see inside his mask, you see the human eyes looking at you from beneath. You like slam, boom, against him, and you can feel the reverberation of the metal comes back to you very strongly. He, in the process, takes essentially all that it looks like is that he takes a step backwards, but in reality, he is knocked off of his balance, and if he's given another significant hit, he will probably he almost stumbles backwards off the boat.
I will charge him shoulder. I will wreck him in the stomach and push him over.
Nice. Yes. Okay.
Sacrificing position for effect.
Great.
I will wreck him in the stomach.
He will be wrecked.
I love it.
Someone said that while they were making my tikka masala the other day.
Wreck him in the stomach. That's pretty amazing.
Okay, I did it. I rolled a 6.
Amazing.
Yay!
3 and a 6.
Get out of our boat!
Yeah, amazing.
Church cop! Get out!
Make a church cop. The Spirit Warden staggers back once again, as he gets tackled full on by Aldo. He flies off of the boat, sort of stepping backwards from you, presses against your shoulder and leaps back, and he sort of flies upwards and then falls back onto the dock, still landing on his 2 feet but skidding against the wood.
Like an anime character?
A little bit like an anime character.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I'm just, yeah, pretty awesome.
Got incredible coordination.
Yeah. So he stands there sort of looking up after you, holds up his own, reaches into his pouch and holds up his own smaller version of the same talisman meant to track you. And then as you disappear down the canal, get enough distance from him, he sort of shakes his head and throws it down to the ground in frustration. You have escaped both him and the boat that was following you.
Oh, yeah.
You've made it out of this. You drive the rest of the way and end up in Six Towers. Does anything happen as you guys are on the way to the Keltree Sisterhood?
I hope not. I hope it's uneventful the rest of the way.
Peaceful, calm.
We're definitely taking them straight to the Keltrees, right? We're not going anywhere near we're not burning any of it. Yeah.
Yes.
We're getting
unload this hot merchandise. Yeah.
We're turning around and leaving. And
yeah, amazing.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Yeah.
Money.
So you reach the Sisterhood's home. Their mansion is right on the border of Silkshore and Brightstone, so you're able to get the boat into this very quiet neighborhood. It's chilling how different it is from the craziness that you just left on the canals. This high-speed chase of 2 boats. The mansion is interesting because you had heard of the great rapport and sort of nobility of this family, but the lawn is overgrown and weedy. A cracked fountain full of algae-covered waters lies there in the front yard, and you can hear toads and insects from inside it. The mansion itself is half swallowed by ivy. But as you knock at the door and are let inside by a slender woman, you are greeted with a beautiful and well-kept mansion in contrast to its exterior. There are beautiful crystal chandeliers and many, many mirrors. The carpets are this beautiful, rich red. It's nice. And it's nice. It's sort of old school nice, Varric. This is not the nobility of your father's time, which is a lot more. It has a lot. In your time, there's a lot of white painted facades inside. There's a lot of attempts to bring light to this world that is darkened without the sun, whereas these old estates built before the breaking even sort of embraced the darkness of these interiors, shunning the bright sun that laborers would have worked in during the time. So it's a little bit darker, and lit a little bit more golden rather than white inside. There's mirrors everywhere, and so you were going to say something, Jamie?
This is more like it. Yes.
As you ascend the carpeted stairs, you see your own reflections 5 or 6 times in different mirrors, and there's a couple moments where you're sort of caught in a small infinity of reflections, and you see yourselves, a little bit worse for wear after your combats. Now you come to the drawing room, which is gorgeous and high-ceilinged. There's an enormous grandfather clock ticking away, and its noise echoes through the room. Varric and Aldo and Bram, you all feel a slight itching sensation. You feel a sense that there's something beyond your immediate perception in this place. If you had different eyes or made use of them, you might see things somewhat differently. But there are 4 women in the room. All of them are dressed in very fine clothing. One of them, it comes up and says, "Hello, I'm Constance Keltree." She's a pale spectral figure. She's about 6 foot. She doesn't so much walk as glide. And then her sister, Theodora Keltree, is shorter by a negligible amount. Her piercing eyes are constantly observant, and they are also joined by a tall, loping dog, a deerhound.
I'm going to look at the dog and I'll say, "You are very beautiful."
The dog looks up at you, and Constance says, "Isn't he a charmer? Yeah, go greet him, Benjamin." And the dog comes up to you. Deerhound are these like very slim dogs.
Hello, Benjamin. What a beautiful boy you are.
Benjamin looks up at you. He doesn't like lick you or attempt to get super close to you. He just sort of holds up his head statuesque.
Wonderful. Pleasure.
So they say, please sit. How are you, my friends?
Wonderful. We're really very happy to be working with you lovely ladies.
Thank you very much. That is very kind. Oh, Bram, you're muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Bram is like kind of in a corner, trembling, trying to look normal, and he like knocks over a candle holder on the mantle. Sorry.
Theodora comes over, and her warm hands sort of grab yours just very gently, just to as you're sort of stumbling for this, and grab the candelabra and say, "Do not worry at all. It's not a problem." And she resets the candle in its frame.
Very kind.
Were there any? This is Constance sitting on the couch now in front of her. She looks at you, girl. She says, "Were there any complications with obtaining the artwork?"
I mean, you could say that, yes, and trying to avoid all mirrors in the room so that she can't she'll also sit down sort of across the way and say, I mean, there was trouble, and I thought, well, maybe given that there was trouble, we could talk about the worth of the paintings.
See. Yes, we anticipated that there might have been some challenges.
You anticipated?
The possibility the paintings are indeed precious. May we see them, by the way?
We'll have brought them in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Unveil them.
Sure, yeah. They're sort of laid out.
Does it smell like salt again and cool breeze?
Yep, yeah. There's another little breeze in the room that messes with the candles. And yeah, you smell the salt air. And Theodora, the younger sister, sits next to one of them and says, "You know what this hill is? The one represented here in the painting?"
Sounds like you do.
Yes, I suppose it was a strange question to ask. But this is are you familiar with the Lost District?
The beyond the wall?
Yes. It used to be a very beautiful place. And a place with many secrets, a place with great power. Before the breaking, that is, and before the last 100 years. You see, well, probably 20 years ago or so, the last people in the Lost District left. There are, I suppose, a few there now, but none who are protected. It was too expensive, you see, to maintain the wall that far out.
And that's there?
That's
And the
what
other
this
painting as well? Oh.
The other painting is of the island that we would now refer to as Night Market. There are also some places of power there, or at least in the legends. You see, we're antiquarians, you might say, interested in history. We have an old family. And you're of a noble family, aren't you? Pointing at Varric.
Yes, I am actually. Gonna begin to offer the right hand and then remember how injured it is and kind of hold out the left one. Like, Varric of the Lomans.
Oh, the Lomans. And the elder sister takes your hand and kisses it.
Ooh, la la.
Enchanté.
Yeah, Constance. She says, you clearly know the old fashions of the old families. You've done your research.
I make it a point to know as much as I can about my clients. You never catch me off guard with who we're working with.
You will certainly make sure that that your reputation is both kept as private as possible, but that in the circles where it is spoken of, that it is spoken of highly. We are very pleased. They appear completely undamaged.
On the topic of privacy, you may want to invest in some sort of shield of some kind, getting a distinct impression that other interested parties can sense these items, at least out in the open.
Constance sort of nods like interestedly as if this is new information to her, and Theodora smiles a little bit at her and says, we happen to have a space for such things. Would you like to see it?
No, I don't think so. I think we're ready to go. Just a matter of our payment, and then I think we're all set. Early morning tomorrow.
But the woman, I want to know the woman, and I'll gesture to the third painting. Like, I'm just like transfixed, particularly by the first painting, and I just need to know.
Yeah. She says, oh, well, the woman, she is one of the old queens of Doskvol. There were many queens before the breaking. It's mostly been kings since then, which, we won't want to associate that too much with the demise of the city. But this queen was named Calafel. And in fact, this hill, and she points to the Lost District, this hill called Illumina is where she was, where she made her residence when she was queen. There was no Sapphire Palace then.
Right. We can go, and I'll stand and sort of move away, and I'm going to, the rest of the time, be assessing the mansion for weak points of entry.
Yeah.
Cool.
Casually.
Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, yes, you are.
Sounds like a bad place to rob.
Yeah. As you stand, Constance, the older sister, says, wait a minute, you had discussed a possible increase of payment. We had originally said 6 coin. What would seem reasonable to you? Given the complications of your evening, we would love to make sure that you are compensated fairly.
Hix, 8 coins seems fair.
8 coin does seem fair. It was... it really was a shame. We thought that this would be more of a straightforward job. We're smugglers, you know this.
Of course.
We move things from willing parties, A to B, concern ourselves with the logistics of flow, and offer ourselves protection in transit. But this job was something, well, a bit different. This was a job of theft. We had to go in here and we had to seize this from some unfortunate people who are laid up in Tangletown. I'm not sure if you've ever been to Tangletown, have you?
I have not. I do know of it. I'm very sorry to hear that. I had hoped that these poor people might open up at the sight of coin, perhaps, that they might be convinced. I'm very sorry to hear that it turned out that way.
Yeah, we are too. It was a bit of a bloody spectacle, and we did take some harm from it. 8 coin does seem, it seems fair to compensate our losses. These were precious works that we're very happy to get to you. But it was a bit treacherous there at the beginning and a bit out of our normal purview. We're very happy to do that, but according to our standard contract that we enter into, if it requires a sort of heavier hand more than just the logistics of flow, if you understand my meaning, then we do add a third of the cost to the top of it. So 8 coin does seem fair.
Bram is yawning.
Let's roll that consort or sway or whatever you want that to be.
Great.
I love it. And then if anyone wants to aid, they can.
Or someone can aid me.
Oh, no, me.
It is cheaper to aid, but yeah.
I will offer you 1 aid. And push me up to
I'll take
I'll
take that. Ooh, I mean, I don't mind pushing myself, but yeah, I'll take that aid.
I'll chime in and sort of say, this is of course with the understanding that we will continue to be available to you as for any other jobs that you might be interested in retaining our services for.
Great. Cool. Yeah, that's definitely worth another die.
Okay, I rolled a 4.
Okay, great. The Sisterhood says, Constance says, and so looks at Theodora, and they both sort of have this moment where neither of them says anything, but they just stare at each other for a long moment. And Constance says, what could it mean? And Constance says, as you can see from our exterior, the house is not as venerable as once it was. Would 7 be acceptable?
Based on the venerability of your house, I would say that 7 would be acceptable, yes. Hix does not seem happy about it, but I don't know. I don't want to push these witchy bitches any further than I already have.
Behind their backs, the girl is like trying to nod at Hix, like, just take it.
So they immediately call forth some more money. They like stack it out in front of you very quickly, like making sure that the amounts are perfectly correct. Meanwhile, Benjamin the Hound sniffs at the stacks of gold, and you are then handed all of this, given all this gold in several wooden lock boxes.
Great.
Which are very well appointed. Meanwhile, girl, would you like to make a study or a survey, or what kind of roll would you want to make to try and assess weak points to the house?
I would love to make a survey if that's all right.
Yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
6.
Okay. Yeah. So what you learn of getting to the house is that it's pretty old. The windows, there's a lot of very tall windows that are of an old style that would make them pretty easily climbable. The house was probably built before any Sparkcraft technology existed, and so people who would be using sort of like electric harnesses or grapple hooks or anything that some people use for, very well appointed people use for thieving, they wouldn't have existed yet. And so the idea of someone getting up to the higher floor would have seemed preposterous at that point. So you could probably get up here and get in through the windows. You do, as you sort of press, you're going up to one of the windows and sort of press your finger up against it. There is like a slight acidic sting on your finger. You get the sense that there might be something beyond the physical dealing with these windows. But also you gauge a little bit of the structure of the house, which I'll give you more details about at your leisure when you need it. I'll make a note of it and we can talk more about it. But yeah, so you get a general sense of the house and a couple of reasonable points of entry. You do also get a sense that it is pretty well defended despite the appearance of being dilapidated. That you get the sense that its a dilapidated exterior is its own attempt at a defense. It is, sort of a PR defense, making it look like it's not worth it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So,
yeah. The first defense.
So, the Sisterhood sort of cover up the paintings in some like beautiful silk cloths. Yeah, is there anything else you want to talk to them about before you leave?
Aldo's been like at the door, just like every time that we're like, oh, okay, okay, like grabbing the door, shutting it again, like okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is rude of me to ask, but you ladies seem to have a certain air about you. You seem to know something about the unseen. Have you had dealings with attuning to the ghosts that plague the city?
You ask a piercing question, sir. We certainly try to understand as much of the old ways as possible. There are a great many secrets in Doskvol. Certainly, we would never attempt to do anything illegal.
Oh no, that's not why I ask. You see, and I'll get like a little bit hushed, like I'm trying to keep this in confidence, not like make a big deal in front of everybody else.
Yeah.
I say, I've had a few experiences recently that have left me somewhat disquieted. I could use help. And I suppose you've got a book or something you could lend me?
Yeah, let's make a roll for this. What would you like to roll to attempt to... I mean, the consort seems reasonable. You're sort of playing it in this friendly way.
Yeah, no, and actually Bram is not at all threatened by their eccentricity. Sure. So cool. Yeah, I'll do consort. Yeah. I don't have anything in consort. That is not his strong suit.
As Socrates explained to us.
Yes, roll 2 and keep the lower.
Yeah, you could do that if you'd like. Yeah, unless someone wants to aid with Bram's quest to get a creepy book.
I mean, I'm willing to aid if you want aid.
Oh, I'd love it. I'll look at Hix and say, or just give him the look of like, back me up.
Certainly. I'll just approach. Which sister is this?
This is Theodora.
This is Theodora. This is the one. Okay, what is she like? Can you describe Theodora?
She was the one who was very passionate about the painting. She was like explaining to you a little bit more about it. She's a little, the first sister is clearly like she's very polite. Constance. Theodora is a little bit more open.
Okay, cool. Because of that, we'll just do a kind of a mini flashback that perhaps I'm asking questions about the painting. I'm really wondering why these people in Tangletown would want to be summoning a ghost, and why the Keltree Sisterhood might want something that could be used as an focus to summon a ghost. So perhaps I've been asking questions and ingratiating myself to Theodora as well, and perhaps ingratiating her to our crew a little bit more. So I'll aid in that, which would stress me out because she's creepy.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, that's great. Cool. So now you take that die.
6. Thank you.
Oh. Amazing. Theodora, in confidence to the both of you, says, you know what's interesting? This summoning a ghost you speak of, that is more likely an accidental effect of what these paintings would be used for. These paintings were done far before the breaking had happened and far before the ghost field, even as we know it, was available to people like us. These paintings, if anyone were to use them, and we certainly wanted to preserve them as they are interesting artifacts of the history, they would be in touch with something older than the ghosts. As to contacting the ghost field itself, as to reaching out to it, there are no books that one could find in a library or in a university.
Yeah, I've tried.
But you could certainly borrow this one. And she hands you a gray, unmarked book that is what's it called? Embossed with silver.
Okay, Bram takes it with a little trepidation. Thank you, that's very kind. I'll look into it and return it to you as soon as I'm able.
Oh, I appreciate that. It is a copy. You don't need to be worried too much for its safety, but of course it is quite precious to me. Awesome.
Very good.
All right. So unless there is anything else you want to do with the Keltree sisters.
Nope.
Great.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you guys are out of here. Okay, so you head out into the night and have finished your score. You're all a little bit worse for wear, but we will take a break at this point. We'll come back in 5 minutes or so. So yeah, thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Take us away, Carson. Hello and welcome back to the Contraband. We are picking up right after the end of our score where the crew, our crew of smugglers, went and delivered 3 completely normal, nothing weird about them paintings to the Keltree Sisterhood, who are a completely normal band of ladies who live in an abandoned mansion in 6 Towers. It's fine.
As you do.
Nothing weird is about it. They got into a fight with some cultists and also were chased by the Spirit Wardens and had one of them land in their boat and then Anime jump out of it. So it was great.
You mean Anime get his ass beat out of the boat?
Yeah.
Hey,
really
jump out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got knocked out of it. You're right. So the payoff from the score, you receive 7 coin from the score.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cash it out and lay in it.
That's 1 for everybody and then 2 left over. So
nice. Cool. And the 2 left over, do you have space in the vault for it, or
we don't have a vault.
that needs to be distributed? Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm getting a vault.
I mean, I don't need it. You can give it to Varric. He loves money.
I do love money.
He does get a free money every session.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I do get a 2 free stash per session, so it's essentially one coin.
Two.
I'll take 1.
Yeah.
Nice.
And not all of us get to do an extra assist action or do an extra downtime action every time.
Yeah, we all get our own powers.
Some of us just have passive income, you know.
Yeah. Hey, actually, it's pretty in character.
Yeah. Varric bought a bunch of Ethereum or Dogecoin or whatever, whatever's popular right now, and it's just his net worth.
Doskvol Dogecoin, yeah, that's the stuff. Yeah, that's what it's about. So, a quick reminder of how coin can be spent. Coin can be spent to get an additional activity during downtime. So, if you're like, oh, I really want to get rid of this harm, or I really want to lower this heat, or I really want to get this asset, you can spend a coin to get an additional activity. You can also spend a coin to increase the result level of a downtime activity. So you could be like, you know what, I want my Indulge Vice to have been better than it was. I'm going to spend coin, slap that down, and get a better result. You can spend a coin to avoid certain crew entanglements. That depends on the nature of the entanglement. So I'll tell you if coin's available. So, for example, when you were interrogated by the Bluecoats girl, you could have paid off the Bluecoats. Instead, you avoided the harm of them beating you up. You can put coin into your character's stash, and then also when you advance the crew's tier, you spend coin to do so. Your current advancement would be getting from tier 1 to tier 2 would cost you 16 coin total. Those are some things. So you receive 7 coin. You also get rep from this score. So you get 2 rep per score by default. If the target of the score is higher tier than you, you take +1 rep per tier higher. The cult was not higher than you, but the Spirit Wardens were significantly above you. So I think I'll sort of split the difference and give you +1 rep for that.
Seems fair. I mean, and the Spirit Wardens are also cracking down on this shit. So
yeah, absolutely.
Like they just had their #1 dude give a speech about how this stuff's bad. So
yep, exactly. Yeah, you're kind of right in the hot stuff that's happening right now. So that's 3 rep for this score.
Okay.
Then heat. 2 heat is contained standard exposure. 4 heat would be loud and chaotic high exposure, and then if there are dead bodies involved, you get +2 heat automatically. Where would you guys rate contained? I feel like it's not smooth and quiet, but it's not wild and devastating. So we're between 2 and 4. Where would you guys think would be fair for heat?
I mean, how many of Bluecoats are going out to Tangletown? Who's enforcing the laws in Tangletown? I wonder. I'd like to know that before I.
Yeah. I think
there was one small explosion and
small.
2 dead people, right?
Yeah, there's the guy whose brains got blown out, and if the leg guy died, which we don't even know. So the other ones were all.
Well, I mean, no one was gonna give him a tourniquet. No one else was left in the house.
I won't let that weigh on my conscience.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe this is where Marlowe plays in, is that Marlowe would cover it up for us, perhaps.
Yeah, so he's going to reduce whatever heat that is by 1. So what if we say it was a 4 heat, loud and chaotic, but reduced to 3 because of Marlowe? Does that seem reasonable?
Sure.
Would that then be 5 heat total with the +2 for death?
Would be 5 heat total, yeah.
What does that put us?
I mean,
it could. Go ahead.
I mean, I'd like to know who's patrolling Tangletown.
Yeah.
Because if nobody will, I mean, maybe there's a crew that like a gang that patrols Tangletown who hangs out in Tangletown that would, I don't know, narc on us or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you're wondering like why it would be such a big deal. Yeah, I think
why
it's
are we
pretty...
getting heat because like some people got killed down in Tangletown where like the worst of the worst wash up. That's sort of my question.
I think loud and chaotic sounds like an overstatement because there was one explosion in the building, but everything else was contained to the building.
And it was a demolition charge, so
Yeah, exactly.
A poop.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't this big old thing. Oh yeah, all right, okay. I'll take that. So, would you say 3 in between contained and loud, or would you say totally just contained and standard?
That's it. 3. That's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah. 3 reduced to 2 with our boy, because I think the other half of that being the fact that you were followed by Spirit Wardens through a busy canal area. There wasn't like no one. There weren't big. There were these 2 grenades.
Nobody threw grenades.
Nobody threw any grenades.
I forgot about the grenades.
No one got recognized.
I was not going to bring that up.
Don't mention the grenades, guys.
It's fine.
We were fishing, dynamite fishing.
Yeah,
that's how it is.
How it goes.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm pretty sure we got a fishing license, didn't we? So
you did get a fishing license.
We did. Perfect cover.
Yeah, if they hadn't had creepy painting radar,
that's a weight off my mind. We got our license.
Yeah, you guys are. It's completely legit.
So you're mistaken. Great. This isn't a portrait. It's a Marlin, actually. It's.
That sounds like a Varric lie.
Oh, so good. All right, so that brings you to 4 heat total. Yeah.
Okay.
So the 2 + 2. That's already counting Marlowe's reduction. Good job, Marlowe. Freaking killing it.
Yay, Marlowe.
You'd MVP,
So
Marlowe.
yeah, where does that bring you for heat?
6.
6. Nice. All right, cool.
Let's go reduce that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome to downtime. Let me drop you a couple rumors. There's not a whole lot going on. It's only been a few days since you got your last rumors, but I'll just throw a few in your direction. I'm throwing them for some reason. The Bluecoats are looking for the people responsible for transporting about 65 Tycherosi refugees and immigrants into Doskvol without papers. The arrivals, mostly from a far northern region of Tycheros called Bolera, have been spaced over the last several months, and while some of the arrivals have been jailed, many have disappeared or obtained papers in the meantime. These new Tycherosi are largely found living in the docks among other Tycherosi and have brought their homeland traditions of dice games, group dancing, and making blood sausages. So, yeah. The district of Crowsfoot has calmed since the end of the Lamp-Black Crows War. The Crows, victorious, have rechristened themselves the Ravens and have declared the district of Crowsfoot Ravensfoot, which has led to a great deal of confusion and disagreement, and an official shutting down by the Assembly, who have declared it to continue being Crowsfoot, for document purposes. The Ravens have had a few conflicts with smaller gangs trying to prove themselves on different fronts. They've been fighting with Alkebulani sashes, butchers from Coleridge, and some mysterious cloaked figures from Six Towers. Most of the fights have ended with the Ravens keeping their turf, but those close with the Ravens report that there are now intense training regimens for new recruits, keeping them physically fit and trained in combat with swords and pistols. The newest King's Assembly was officially welcomed in a few days ago in Charter Hall. The King did not attend, King Calder. As usual, his seat was taken by his Lord Regent, Liam Claremont, an old soldier. Claremont welcomed the new and returning members of the Assembly, including Leviathan Hunter Hem Rathsbane in Brightstone, Hannah Cleon in Six Towers, and the new Robert Boom from Charhollow. If you'd like, at any point, I can explain to you a little bit about the split among official party affiliation in the King's Assembly and give brief portraits of their policies, if you would like. But I won't force that on you all.
Perhaps when I'm ready to sleep later, I'll call you.
See, I'm like ready for it. I'm here.
Two sixes with the blunderbuss from Higgs.
No, I mean, you can hit us with the spicy bits.
Basically, there are the big parties. There's the Progress Consortium, which is the industry party, and there's the Conservation Salon, which is the sort of conservative nobles party. Those are the big groups. And there are 27 seats in the assembly. Progress Consortium has 9, Conservation Salon has 9. So they're tied, but there are 2 minor parties. The People's Prosperity Party, which is sort of an apparent workers' party. They're very Tammany Hall, very corrupt. They have 5. The Rejuvenators are another conservative group that have 3. And the Rejuvenators are sort of like centrist nobility. They have this sort of condescending love for the poor, and they're trying to improve things. So then last session, the Rejuvenators made this big push that they want to make sure that reading and literacy is promoted among the poor, and so they offered to like pay the people in exchange for politically anarchist pamphlets. Yeah, that business. Anyway, so that's them. The People's Explosive Party is the only party that has a single person in the assembly, which is Robert Boom. So he's sort of this weird. He's not exactly a tiebreaker.
You might call him the pep rep.
Yeah, exactly. The pep rep. That's right. Yeah, that's probably what it says in the papers. Boom, pep. Anyway, that's some information about that. So it's in this interesting sort of stalemate between industry and the nobles, and with like potentially you've got the 5 People's Prosperity Party and 3 Rejuvenators and 1 Boom, who, if they were together, could potentially make pushes on behalf of the working man. They would need like a tie-breaking vote, though, essentially, potentially. Anyway, so that's kind of an interesting situation. A new market has sprung up in Crowsfoot and Six Towers, selling certain kinds of forbidden animals. This includes Alcabulani white lizards, which are quite tasty, but which spread like pests. So people don't want them very much in Doskvol. There are also forbidden Catalan chickens and even small hogs from the Dagger Isles. It's unclear who are selling these animals, but they're appearing in the more secretive markets.
Hold on, the little white lizards.
Yeah.
You said they're delicious?
Yeah, they're pretty tasty. Yeah.
I mean, they're now forbidden chickens.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing like a fried chicken place.
Forbidden chicken.
The people need it. Like someone's doing a community service running the fried chicken. They're like bootleg speakeasy fried chicken joint. That's where I want to go.
I'm going.
Let's go to indulge our vices there. If there's,
yes, please.
Like if there's a speakeasy fried chicken, like hot chicken joint, it's like in a Six Towers joint or something. I don't know.
The
create it, game master.
Yeah, the cluck easy.
Nice.
Stupid. Sorry. The last rumor is that Theric Lomond has happily announced the coming of age of his daughter Letitia Lomond. The party celebrating her entrance into society will be next month. So she will be officially entering the social spheres of Doskvol.
Let's go. Can we go to that party, Varric? Can you get us into that party? Can you get us into that party? Can you get into that party, Varric? What's your situation with that?
Well, we could probably show up at the party. I don't know that we could get an invite. I doubt I could get an invite.
I don't want to push anything. I mean, it's your family, but...
Family is complicated. Sometimes, someone's father throws them out of the house and refuses to speak to them ever again.
I mean,
things like that.
How fun is a 14-year-old's birthday party going to be anyway, really? I'm just reconsidering it.
I mean...
I'd like to see where you grew up, though.
I would be eager to show you. I do worry slightly. Did anyone else notice a little girl, a teenager, while we were fleeing?
Well, I didn't, but my attention was on fleeing.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, So there is bad news that we were spotted and recognized by someone. I imagine they know what they know what the rough penny looks like, and they recognized it, and they can link it to me. The good news is that it is my little sister. The bad news is that she will definitely use this against me in some way, I'm sure. And whether or not that comes back to bite the rest of us, I just want to let you all know that she now has a certain degree of leverage.
Does she have any reason to hurt you and those who you are working with?
Not that I can think of. I mean, just to make fun of her a little bit.
Could you be sure about that? Could you do what you need to do to be sure about that?
I could try and talk to her. Sure, yeah. Okay. I can't. I don't imagine she would have any grudge. I mean, I practically left the door open for her to become, the next lord. But no, I don't think we need to worry about it. Really, it'll be fine. Just thought everyone should know. Yes.
Well, who's up for some chicken?
Absolutely.
I could use a bite, to be honest. I'm starving.
Me too.
Let's go.
Is this Bram? Will you be seeking stupor through chicken? I'm
definitely indulging my vice. Yes.
Awesome.
For those watching who haven't seen me indulge my vice, it is not chicken. I'm sorry to say, but Bram's vice generally, you'll see, it usually involves completely losing control of himself.
Oh, great!
In the chicken place.
Yes.
Bram. Actually, people probably need to know this, that Bram is almost never seen sleeping. He's always like loitering around either the docks where the rough penny's hidden, or at the Queen's Magnolia, or at Decker's. Like he's just always going from place to place, and whenever someone thinks he's going to like take a nap or go to bed, he just goes somewhere else and like hangs around there.
I love it. Yeah. So in terms of chicken, you you are able to find there is the Stinkbloom is a market in Six Towers that is this like rickety ramshackle place, not unlike Tangletown in its general architectural principles, which is to build something fast and easy. It's like 3 stories tall. It used to be this big, beautiful plaza with this like stone fountain. Bram actually had a fight a little while ago, like way long ago, with a guy in like it was actually in the hollowed-out base of that fountain. Like the center part is ripped out and it's now just like this stone basin, and that's where they have fights sometimes. Yeah. But the Stinkbloom is like this whole market. It's largely a mushroom market. That's like mostly the thing. But on the very lowest levels, like there are like these little stone not stone chimneys, but just like open places where smoke is allowed to come out, and there's some like lower places where people cook. But there's sort of this like set of unofficial watchmen, like people who, like, if the bluecoats are coming, will like make the call and be like, all right, we gotta clear whatever contraband stuff is out of here, and people will like hide it away because the place is so dense that only the locals know the layout. But you find on the lowest level of the Stinkbloom, you find some of these folks serving chicken.
I am vibing the Stinkbloom moment.
Awesome. Yeah, there's like some lanterns hung up on this wooden stuff. There's a bunch of poor Six Towers folks. It's a little bit, it leans more straight poverty than Silkshore, which is kind of bohemian, but there's still a little bit of the bohemian flavor in Six Towers, but it's a little bit more grounded.
So to investigate this chicken further,
yes.
Who's cooking it?
Indeed.
I think Aldo is thrilled by it as well.
Yeah.
The opportunity.
Make an investigation roll of any kind, like gather information in any method you want, to like see what you can learn about the people making it.
Good. I'm going to kind of study. I'll sit there and watch for a little bit and
Cool.
Let's see what I discovered. 5.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna give you a tick on a clock that you don't know about.
Okay.
Till now.
So yeah, that you don't know what it means.
Salmonella is what this clock is called. Like, how clean is this shit?
So, the guy behind the counter is tattooed, like pretty chiseled jaw. Haircut is nicer than you'd expect from sort of like a vagrant guy. He's got a hood and like some gear that looks like he's pretty well equipped. And like there's a number of people who are here. You notice that it's also guarded by 2 cloaked men. The place, the thing that you notice about all these individuals is their boots. The boots suggest military training or combat training of some kind, like official city-based combat training.
So, but the people cooking this, they're not Catalani. They're not.
Nope, they're Akaro. Well, there's actually probably one of the cooks is Catalani.
I thought you said this was Catalani chicken.
Yes, it is Catalani chicken. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Just checking.
Yes, you're right.
Just confirming. Okay.
Yes.
I mean,
it's been gentrified.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I want to know. So,
is it authentic? Yeah.
Yes, this is what I'm looking around and trying to decide. First seeing it, and then they bring it and serve it. And I imagine Catalani chicken is actually slow stewed for a long while, and then after it's sort of taken in all of the flavors of this stew, it's thrown and seared over like a super hot like grill or slate, essentially, to just kind of sear it all together. It's very good. So you have a bit of the burn on the outside. So how good is it? Come on.
It is not as good as it should be. You know, it's not the guy who's cooking it, like the Catalani guy is there, and they are trying, like, it is slow stewed and they are trying to sear it, but the heat of the slab, they don't have a stone slab, which we usually use to sear with, so it's not hot enough. They're doing it on a grill. So yeah, if you want to catch the Catalan guy and talk to him, you can.
I think and you all will see like a couple bites, and you can all be super into it, but it's essentially like, this is a good place. It's like,
like, oh, this is really good. Don't you think so, Aldo?
Yes, it's good. Yes, I mean,
bloody brilliant. This stuff.
The way my mother used to make it, of course, it had so much more. It's. I don't want to ruin this for you, of course. It's very.
No,
good.
I'm sure she was very good, but this is like tender, and just that spice is so nice.
Yes, it is. It's very nice.
You're not eating
too
very
much of it. That's the important bit. You don't want too much of the flavor. You like to have a little bit of mildness. Just
yes.
Let's make it go down easier.
Well, that is certainly doing this, yes, a bit. In fact, Bram, if you like it, you may have the rest of mine. That is okay.
You mean that?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Like, and I'll stand and I'll see if I can meet the Catalani man cooking this stuff.
Yeah. So you come over and there's an Akarosi man, bearded guy, like salt and pepper beard, and he says, "Hey there, you getting everything you need?"
Yes, it is very good. I wish to give my compliments to the chef.
Oh, yeah, sure. Kelstien, come over here. So Kelstien comes over. Catalani, similar features to you, to the place that you both come from, and he's like wiping his hands on his apron, and he says, "Hey, it is good to see a fellow Catalan. How are you?"
Yes, very good. Very good. It is very good to see you here working and cooking food from our home. I like gestured to my friends over there. Bram's like on his third probably. Yeah. They love it. It is very good. I am a bit surprised though that you're able to get the chicken here.
He sort of looks a little at the first thing he does is he tries to dodge a little bit. He says, "You're from You come from the homeland?
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
Oh, I'm very sorry. Then I'm sure that it is quite disappointing. I'm second generation.
No.
I never knew the homeland.
Well, I mean, to be honest, if you want, I can show you a few tricks I learned from my mother. She made it so. It is very good. It is very, very good, of course. But it's just not quite. It's. If you wish, of course, I don't want to step on any toes, but
let me check with the cap with him. I'll check with him really quickly.
Oh.
I didn't realize cooking was genetic. That's amazing.
Well, it is for Catalan. So.
He says he just doesn't know the traditions very well. But he calls this guy over. They talk briefly with the salt and pepper beard guy, and he looks a little bit uncertainly at you, but then lets you back. And you see it nod at a couple of the two guards who are watching the place. They let you back, and he says, and they bring in another one of the Akarosi guys and says, well, we should probably all learn. They think that I know something which I really don't. So
he brought a guy with him. Right, that's fine. No, that's great.
You can play it differently if you want.
No. He came in. That's perfect. This is great.
It's a young kid.
Oh, that's great. Of course, of course.
23.
Oh, okay, great. And I'll basically it's the this is not paprikash. It's which I think is one of the sweetest and worst scenes ever. Anyway, but side note. But I'll show him a bit of like No, you double the spice here. It's very, very. This is really what it's a little bit that goes a long way. So, this will help a lot. And you have no stone. I will get you one. I will find you one.
He says, I'm sure we can find a stone. That is very kind of you. This is extremely helpful.
Oh, of course. I'm just amazed to see so much. I mean, so much chicken. It's quite the hot spot. I realize I make listen, and I'll even like I'm kind of eyeing the Akarosi kid. Is the Akarosi kid like? As I'm sure, I just like what's his general vibe?
It's your call. If you want him to have been distracted by like trying to measure out the spices correctly.
No, I mean if he's listening, I think yeah. I'll take the chance of basically just saying like,
sure.
I just look, it is a I don't know how you get them, but I can help you get the stone, and I could help you perhaps get more chicken.
Let's make a consort on this.
And he's like not even the boss here, but he's gonna get me. I'm gonna
he's
consort.
Your friend. Yeah, great. Consort. I love it. Yeah.
6, baby.
Okay. Yeah. The guy looks like very like enthusiastic through all this and says, you're so very kind. And eventually, he looks over at your group and he says, I imagine those are not just your friends.
You are very astute, of course. They are my friends. They are my family, and they are my business partners, shall we say.
That makes sense. I appreciate your honesty. I will match it with at least some of my own. My friends and I also run an operation.
Ooh, let's not kill each other. Okay, who's it?
He says, I wish we could give you more of the information about our work, but sadly, it is a bit of a trade secret, you might say.
Trade secret, of course. I know how important it is that those kinds of details, contracts remain, within the crew, of course.
Of course, you understand. Yes.
I understand, and if you have if you have this handled, of course, please do not, forget I said anything, but we always wish to help, especially it would be nice to do something good for a brother like you from our homeland.
You know what? I will. I very much appreciate that. It is possible that we will. Who knows? Maybe we will need more hands for something. I will make sure to be in touch, and if we could, as long as we could recompense you fairly, I can see what I can do.
That can all be discussed on the line, of course. I have some, pull within our organization. Perhaps an agreeable price could be arranged, but of course, mostly I just wanted to meet you and let you know how glad I am to taste this.
Well, maybe if your friend wants some more, maybe I can try what you've just been teaching me. And we get a little bit more.
Yes, of course, of course.
That seems good. All right. He goes to shake your hand. As you reach out and you catch a glimpse, I'll just do this part of your 6. You glimpse inside his coat a blue coat badge.
Oh, this son of a...
But it's kind of grimier, and it looks like the old, like the blue coat badge they were using 3 years ago.
Okay, that's, Okay, I'm going to not say anything. We're going to cook a delicious meal together.
Great. Awesome. Should we roll some vice indulgence for everybody, or for anyone who's indulging their vices by eating chicken?
Is this religious enough of an experience? Just kidding.
I mean, you said it wasn't. Said it was pretty subpar.
You're very explicit.
So I mean, I don't know if I can really roll my vice here. I don't know. Was it pleasure?
We gotta get up to
enough.
something. What's going on? Are there people around? Anything of interest happening?
Anything of interest to Bram?
Bram, did you want me to start a fight with the old blue coats?
Are there fights happening? I mean, of course, the ring is right there, like the little fountain where people are doing some fights. There's some stuff. There's also a bunch of people drinking, like kind of the fact that like this is the night of the week when the chicken is here. Like there's a bunch of people eating, there's a bunch of people getting drunk, there's a bunch of people partying, taking quicksilver and trans powder and all sorts of stuff. People are having a good time. So we can certainly get up to whatever.
So by the time Aldo is like wrapping up with the chef over there, Bram's already like cruising by some of the other tables, like making comments at people.
Oh jeez.
Working his way over to where the fighting pit is.
What sorts of comments would you say he's making?
Just like, shut up! What are you talking about? just like being obnoxious to people. He's had a few drinks at this point. He's filled his belly with chicken.
Yeah, he shoves someone out of the way and goes, "Excuse you," whatever.
There you go. And if there's a fight going on, he'll start cheering obnoxiously.
Awesome. Yeah, there's one of these guys who looks to be with the group running the chicken stand is in a fight. He's currently fighting against there's like a Six Towers, like one of these fledgling gang members. You've heard of a gang called the Cobwebs, who are just like total nobodies. And so like one of them, it's actually the guy who you fought originally, like the scrawny kid with took Quicksilver. He was a Cobweb. And it's another one of them. It's a girl who's like really scrappy, like super butch haircut. And she and the other guy are sparring. It's pretty like, it's sportsmanlike, but pretty heavy in terms of the combat. Who are you cheering on?
For no reason, Bram will start cheering for the Cobweb.
Nice.
Yeah. And he's like, "Come on, that's not a haymaker, is it? That's shit." And he's like moving around the crowd as he's doing this, and just like being belligerent, having like big like childish reactions to everything that happens in the fight.
I love it. So at first, the girl's getting beat pretty bad. The other guy is like pretty careful, getting his hits in. At one point, knocks her down, and she like is about to like fully hit the ground, which would tap her out. But she catches herself with one arm, bounces herself back up, and then this like wild rush, like looking at you and kind of like spitting in your direction, lets out this really wild haymaker and hits the guy pretty hard. He does like, and then immediately she calls it off because she knows that she's not going to win against him. But she just wanted to get the hit in, and the dude like with a bloody nose like shakes her hand and is like, all right, whatever, pieces out of the fight. But there's a couple people around you probably are shoving, and someone's like, oh, fuck off, man, come on. If you're gonna get in a fight, just get in a fight.
As she's coming off from the fight, I'll say, is that how you fight? Is that what you do? Throw one good punch the whole time and then quit?
Look, I wasn't gonna beat him. What do you want from me?
I don't know. You want to fight?
I just got out of a fight. I mean, sure, I'll take you.
I can fuck you up. He charges in and starts, He's not at the top of his game here. He is drunk and belligerent and just looking to hurt someone.
I love it. Yeah, she's muscular. She's like, all right, give me 1 minute. So like, she like drinks a bunch of water, and one of her friends like comes over and like, massages her back a little bit. Let's roll. Let's just roll your indulge vice, and then you can kind of tell me how the fight went from there.
Yeah. Okay. So I roll
the dice in your lowest attribute. So like,
yeah,
it's like whatever you have the least single dots in.
They're all 3.
Nice. That is awesome.
Okay, so 5.
Nice. Okay.
So that's how much stress I recover?
Yes, that is how much stress you recover.
Excellent. I'm down to 1. Okay, so the fight, Bram is he's still got his wits about him enough to just like pummel this poor fighter. And I guess she's probably like tired after her own fight, which
absolutely.
She basically lost before quitting. And so by the end, he's just like kneeling kind of above her, just like throwing these kind of heavy but really slow punches as he's getting tired, and he just kind of collapses onto his back. She probably got in like a good hit that, I don't know, give him a bloody lip or a black eye or something.
But
he just kind of stumbles off and like finishes a bottle, throws it, smashing the glass onto wherever they were fighting. People are like, get out of here. And he kind of wanders back over to Hix with his eye red and starting to swell up. Like, that was a shit fight.
Yeah, I mean, you look like you did well. You're looking a little more normal now that you've been hit a couple times. I bet you feel better, huh?
I feel great.
Great. Man.
I'm gonna go get some more chicken.
Fuck yeah. I'm like, Hix is like over here at this table of people who are like doing like rails of trance powder, and he's like, man, like pulls out his little like bullet casing and like takes the cork out of it, and then like chops himself a rail and starts to make friends.
Yes, absolutely. Like a big old man like smacks the table twice and says, sit down with us, mate.
So I want to use this as sort of a gathering information. I want to know who's running this operation.
Yeah, cool.
Like who's providing them protection, because this is elaborate. They got a chicken situation on it in this. Who's running this? There's some intelligence behind it, and I want to know who that is.
Absolutely. Yeah, cool. So are you also doing indulge vice with this? Yeah, good.
No, I don't think I'll indulge vice with this. I think I'll consort with this.
I love it. Yeah, let's roll the consort on these folks who you're taking transporter with.
That is a 5.
Awesome. They like everyone is just sort of in this haze of camaraderie, and like, they're just like, you're chilling, you're sort of connected to the ghost field a little bit, chilling in your world. You ask them a bit about, specifically, you want to know about who's providing protection to the guys running the chicken stand. I just realized I went very Breaking Bad accidentally. It's not the chicken stand business.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that there's some people who are on the lookout, and I want to be gleaning what their interest is and what their, I mean, if there's any like common tattoos or common like insignias or sort of, or like tells that would indicate that they are of a common group, perhaps.
Yeah, totally.
If there's anything to glean from the people who I am, I mean, I think I would dip my toe in the water to see if they're amenable to conversation before I would reveal anything about, I'm also in the business of moving things around. Yeah. So I would like to know.
Totally. Yeah, so these guys aren't members of the organization, so that there's like low risk here. They talk to you a little bit and they say, yeah, these folks have been coming for a couple months now. The chicken only came in last month. Before then they had those white lizards, which were pretty nice. And honestly, they're good blokes. I don't know a whole lot about them. One of them says. Another one says, talks about how they've got these matching gray coats that they all wear. Another one says, yeah, I heard they have some documentation allows them to get past checkpoints, other things, allows them to move a little bit more freely. I don't know where they got them though.
Lucky us.
Yeah. They say that guy over there, I think he's the boss. And it's the salt and pepper beard guy who is running that chicken stand, who sort of let Aldo in.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's all.
Cool. The name that you get is the Grey Cloaks of this group.
Okay. The Grey Cloaks.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been such a pleasure doing drugs with you all tonight. My name is Hix. I hope to see you all again. Goodbye.
Hix, goodbye. Oh, so good to meet you. It was like a hug. There's an embrace. Everyone's very good.
Yeah, we'll see you later. Come on, Hix.
Love it.
We stagger home.
Amazing. Any other vice indulgences or other group effects? Also, is the girl involved in the chicken eating at all?
Well, I was going while Bram is getting the shit beat out of him and Hix is taking drugs. I was going to sort of be lurking around the edges, looking for an interesting character, just someone who's behaving a little oddly or who sort of stands out, and observing them quietly by way of indulging my vice.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it. So I'll offer you 3 options. Okay. One of them is the person running the betting at the fighting pit. It's this boy who's really fast talker, kind of auctioneer. He's like just motor mouth, talking through these fights, getting people say, oh, you bet on this one, you bet on this person, and like kind of running everything and keeping an eye on everything. So that's one sort of personage you get a sense of. Another one, there is maybe another one of the cooks who's working not the chicken place, but like a mushroom spot kind of across the way. It's this woman with these very sharp features, who is kind of like not maternal, but like has this very like open, like friendly relationship with all these people, but is sort of managing the shop. I don't know. Is there a third kind of person or archetype that you imagine could be an interesting person that you're sort of looking for? I can fill in details if needed, but if there's an archetype you're sort of looking for.
I mean, I love the nervous child.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, you could have a nervous. Is it like an urchin kind of kid?
Yeah, just like the hyper, the hyper nervous energy, like vibrating off the walls kind of child character.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a kid there who works for one of the shops who's like being sent on errands and is like, okay, fine, I'll go get it. Okay, fine. And like going into these other locations, like coming back with crates, like, is this what you needed? Oh my gosh, okay. Sort of running back and forth.
Right. So I'm gonna choose the kind of like super maternal woman at the mushroom stand because I do love mushrooms and maternal is interesting to me.
Cool. Yeah.
And so girl sort of like wanders over there.
The coffee pot, like, how are you, dearie? Kind of business. I think that's maybe what I'm pushing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Love that.
Cool. Great.
So she stands aside for a little bit, observing this sort of character before, approaching and hello. Oh dear. I just love your shop so much.
Oh, goodness gracious, you're too kind. I mean, the place is an absolute wreck. Don't go inside. Don't go behind the counter. It'll be terrible for you.
Gracious. Oh, goodness. I think it's probably lovely inside. I could just picture it.
Oh, well, I mean, if you like mushrooms, we sure have a lot of those. That's really it. Can I get you anything, mushrooms. Dear?
Mushroom tea would be grand. I would love to sit and have a chat with you about all of this, about your mushroom tea. What's your name?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious.
My name is Susan. But I'll get you some tea and I'll be back momentarily. We don't have very many friendly folks like you around here. And you're supposed to, Susan, give me another. She's like, be there in just a moment.
It'll just be a jiffy, I'm sure, if you could just hold tight. And we don't have to play out the whole interaction, but girl is sort of like picking up as many mannerisms as she can from Susan and storing them away in her little brain.
Amazing. I love it. Yeah. You want to roll your indulge vice on that? Yeah. So really lowest attribute. Let's see how much stress you reduce by capturing this person's essence.
Maternal can I get? 6.
Amazing. So you can reduce, how much stress do you have currently?
I only have 2.
Oh, okay, great. Well, normally that would be overindulgence, but since you don't have any trauma, it's not a big deal, I think.
Oh, I forgot about the overindulgence mechanic.
Yeah, it's a little bit wonky. We will not worry about it for this time around, or if we do, I'll engage with it after the session. So. Cool, nice. Love it. Yeah. So you and Susan have like a really nice chat. She brings you this tea, and eventually, she brings you back behind and sort of shows you a little bit of it. And you see, I feel like I probably angled just because of the voice. I angled her a little bit, too innocent, but she's pretty smart as well. She's canny, and so it's this. She puts on the front of full innocence, but I think you've got, you sort of get a couple angles of her.
Yeah, cool.
That makes sense.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Anything else happen for you while you're down here hanging out at the Stinkbloom?
When I see Hix and Bram sort of begin to stagger home, I'll say, oh, this has been just so lovely. Goodness gracious, so lovely. I do think I have to go. These are my dear friends, and I want to make sure they get home safely. And I'll scamper off after them with a kind of a new character in my brain.
All right, my dear. Have a good night. Take care of yourself.
Cool.
Great. Yeah, head off
Very
on your way. Wonderful. What else are people up to? It's downtime. We've had 2 downtime actions so far, just 2 indulgences, is that right? And then just because the gather information doesn't count towards a downtime action.
Yes, I think I will also go indulge in my vice.
What does that look like?
So I think we leaving here after the whole chicken, and I think after Bram and Hix leave, he'll head home by way of Melista, a pseudo friend, and approach and again knock quietly on the door.
Right. The door. There's a bit of quiet for a moment, and he says, Yeah, who is it?
It's me.
The door opens a little bit. The chain is still across, and she says, "Oh, Aldo." She unchains a little bit and says, "Well, come on in." She's in like a nightgown, a shift, and a nightgown. She says, "Come on in, sit down. Do you
Thank you.
you want something to drink?"
No, I think I am all right. I've just come from a. Have you been to the Stinkbloom?
I go sometimes. Get some mushrooms. Get some other things. Why?
There's a new place, a Catalani chicken place. It's good.
Good enough to go? Should I go there or?
I think after I gave him a few pointers tonight, yes, it is good. Good enough to go.
Oh, I see. Well, I'll have to give it a try. You seem well. When you come here, you are often so heavy.
Yes, I don't know. I am well, I suppose. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we've started to, I don't know, kind of find our stride a little bit. As you know, I was worried about losing them.
Yes.
And I think there was I think it was very close that we might have, but I think we've been through a lot, and we are better for it, of course. And I feel I know. I know what to do.
Lucky for you. I'm glad to hear it. I know you care about your friends, likely more than they know.
They're all I have.
You.
I wish to be with the elder tonight. With the
elder.
Yes, the elder daughter. Can you will you? I realize it's a last minute, perhaps. I'm sorry, you are. I don't give much thought to when I arrive. I can.
It makes for a surprise, somewhat. I was beginning to think this might be a social call and not calling upon my old forgotten profession. But here, give me a moment and I'll come back. You stay here. She comes back a few minutes later in robes of the old faith of Doskvol. And she sits you in her room. There's a fire, like a very low fire burning in there, and she puts a bunch of wood on it. She takes some towels and she closes the two doors into her living room and seals up the bottom of the doors with the towels. She lights 6 more candles, which she places around the around the room, and closes the window, shuts it tight. After about 10 minutes, it is very, very hot in the room, and both of you are sweating profusely. She has you kneel down in the center of this, the center of this, and has you. There are a couple original beginning prayers you recite, and then she starts with an echoing prayer. She says, sort of cites her authority as a priestess of the old faith at Doskvol, and in the name of the elder daughter begins this rite, and she says, "Fire and ashes, fire and smoke,
Fire and smoke,
glorious heat.
glorious heat.
The fool I was,
The fool I was,
the man I was,
the man I was,
collapses.
collapses.
Burn away the excess,
Burn away the excess.
purify the rest."
Purify the rest.
And then she sort of leaves it open to you to offer a prayer to the elder daughter, either in your silently or with her as sort of confessor.
I think he stays quiet
Gotcha.
for a while.
Yeah, she just sits there very silently, looking down at the wooden floor. You see, like, drips of her sweat off of her nose and her face. Like, both of you are extremely sweaty at this point. It's like it's the best imitation of a sauna she can do in this this old apartment.
I think as the sort of rite fills the air and dissipates, Aldo will ask, "Melissa, why did you leave?"
The old faith.
Yes, I pay you to do this.
Yes, well, there used to be temples for the sisters like me. There used to be places that we could go to live the old faith as it was intended. You know, in times past, there would be a stone chamber where we would have this ritual, where we would truly make it live and sing. But when the Church of the Ecstasy of the Flesh gained power in Doskvol, all that went away. All our cathedrals were given to them and to their hatred of the ghosts and their hatred of the spirit. We who accepted the spirit and who saw the spirit as part of the self, we are no longer fashionable. And so I suppose that it seemed that the religion that I knew was lost to some degree. And yes, you might say it is only the trappings that are gone now, but it is also the believers who are gone now. Sometimes seems like a dead thing to me, and I feel that I cannot in good conscience try to bring to life a dead thing. I think Doskvol has done enough of that.
He'll stand up and drop his coins into the jar on the mantelpiece. I'm a believer.
I was going to say, you inspire me, Aldo, with your faith. I wish that it was not such a rare candle flicker in the dark.
And I suppose he'll assist with any of the kind of deconstruction of the rite. And as he prepares to leave, thank you, Melissa. You should get some of that chicken if you can. It's good.
I will make it a priority, and now you have given me the means to do it. I wish you the best of luck, Aldo. May the sister purify your efforts as you hope she will.
Thank you. And we'll open the door and down the steps from her porch, sort of the the quick step, sort of like, you know what I mean, the rush down the stairs of pleasant renewal, I suppose.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, let's roll that. Did we roll the indulgence? I always forget.
It's a 4.
Lost in the scene.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Great. Yeah. Aldo passes by, probably on his way back. He sees like the factories of Coleridge and all the fires happening there, and is reminded of the purification that exists that occurs even in these sort of seemingly filthy and lost places, or refining processes. A metaphor, perhaps, for yourself. Yeah. Great. Anything else from Aldo, or what's what is next? What are people up to?
I would like to indulge some vice as well.
Great. Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
So, where might I find either a soap maker or perfumery?
Oh, I mean, there are obviously all the Brightstone places, and they are fantastic. And that's, I mean, really, where are you going to get really good products besides Brightstone? I mean,
Yes.
you and I know this, Varric, obviously. Like, it's just kind of, that's the real city. There are, however, they say there are these up and coming places in Night Market that do have rather fancy soaps, rather fancy perfumes. Silkshore says it has the fancy ones. You could certainly try them out, but it seems it's a little bohemian.
Supplemental question.
Yes.
Letitia is training for her scholarship competition.
Yeah, she's going to be
correct?
applying to the Mara Hardin. I mean, it's the fact that you knew that it was happening, pretty likely, since she's going to be starting. She won't be going to the university soon, but she would likely be going to a preparatory school very soon.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I will go to one of these perfumeries in Night Market.
Cool. Yeah.
If anybody wants to join as well.
I'll join. I'll join. Why not? Let's go. I mean, I don't have any money. I'd probably wear the nicest stuff that I have with 0 stash.
Yeah.
Which is like, I look really, really good according to me. So that's probably what that's turning out, what that's looking like. And
That's
anybody with eyes to see and appreciate can or not.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And they would do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, you head to a place in Night Market. There are 2 places in Night Market. I'm going to not come up with their names immediately, but one of them is a very large and well-known perfumery, like pretty famous, and a lot of it's like local make, and like they have these gardens. Actually, there are gardens at the location in Night Market that have their own like electroplasmic lighting, like the radiant energy farms in Barracleft, and they're super fancy. There's another one that is sort of a boutique that has perfumes from other countries, far off places, and is run by an Al-Kabilani owner.
Let's go for the one with the Al-Kabilani owner.
Okay, great. Yeah, you go inside. It's this like a hole in the wall, but like very clean and brightly lit. All of the lights, there's no electroplasmic lights around it. It is all sort of the incandescence of like coal burning lamps, or preferably like candelabras and open flames. So it's like a very warm, welcoming space. And the person welcomes you in and says, "Greetings, good evening to you. Welcome. How is it that I can help you?"
Good evening. What a charming atmosphere you have here.
Thank you so much.
I was just wondering. You see, I've moved into a new abode recently, and there's this lingering sense of fish and salt water that I can't quite seem to get rid of. I was just wondering what would you recommend to help me offset that?
I have often heard among friends, at least those from the country from which I come who say the best thing to do for that would be to leave Doskvol permanently.
But that I could, my friend. But that I could.
But I mean that mostly in jest. I would love to provide a solution to your problem.
Anything, strong floral scents, perhaps?
Oh, certainly. I certainly do. They go down like this long shelf of all these small glass bottles that are just beautiful and filled with colored liquid. For some reason, they're tall enough that they got the Beauty and the Beast rolling ladders because those are great. So like they sort of roll down this thing and say, "Let me show you several of these," and like picks. Like full, I guess we're in like full Ollivander mode at this point. Like you're getting your perfume
with perfume. Find the right fit.
Holds one under the nose. No, not that one. No.
Yes, exactly. That's precisely it. Yeah, that's great. And then the person says, and you delightful person. They look at you, Hix. Am I seeking something for you as well?
Oh. No, I actually really like the way I smell.
That is wonderful. I think that is the preferable way. Our enhancements must, of necessity, incorporate a sort of falsehood. But we hope that it can be of comfort to some.
Of course. I mean, certainly some people are not at ease with their own selves. But to me, I ask the question, is the flower at odds with its own smell, even if it isn't attractive to all smellers? I think not.
You speak very wisely. That is, in fact, one of the things that we in Alkebulan find not distasteful in Doskvol, but it seems a loss that in Brightstone, that their definition of cleanliness and of smell is to eliminate as much smell as they can. But I think that it is much better to breathe from the whole garden of life with its mulch as well as its blossoms.
I couldn't have said that better myself.
The person who refers to themselves as Abeo goes through more of these and brings out 3 different flavors of perfume. One of them is a very sharp, almost, it's like a sweet, oily scent. And then there's another that's this very sort of low fragrance. It's not like the pure sugary sweetness of some flowers, but more like a lavender sort of. And then another one. I don't know how to describe smells, so I'm just like, I felt like the 2 were good enough, and so if you have
You're doing great, Ted. I'm impressed already. Describe it better so that the viewer at home can imagine it when they close their eyes.
Yeah, and if we want to drop a 3rd one, it could be like a cinnamon flavor, like less of a flower and more of like a bark spice. Yeah, I love that. Ooh, so anyway, there you go. What are you feeling, Varric?
I will get the cinnamon bark spice one, and also the slightly earthier lavender-esque one.
Wonderful.
I'll
yes.
Go for 2.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. Let's make the indulge vice roll.
Indulge that vice. Nope. Not rolling 2. I'm rolling 1. Indulge vice is our lowest.
Still 1. Lowest attribute. Yeah.
Yeah. Lowest attribute. Yes.
What's that in? What's the one you only have 1 in?
I am not insightful at all. I've got 2 dots in study and nothing in hunt, survey, or tinker.
Dang, yeah. Diversifying in that is surprisingly beneficial. You don't think of it. I wouldn't think of it if I was a player, but it's an interesting mechanic. Yeah, very cool.
4. I did.
Awesome. Yeah, you totally did. Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, you got 3 in everything.
How quickly can I get to 3 of everything?
Yeah, that's smart. Awesome. So 4 is a pretty great roll. So yeah, you can reduce 4 stress, and you're with Hix. But does Hix has to be doing it with him?
I think.
Perhaps let me see what the perfume of pleasure is. It seems like Abeo is, disarmingly charming person who I'm meeting here.
Yes, indeed.
So perhaps I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
you
I don't feel like I don't.
But
I mean, I don't feel like I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't feel like it exactly fits.
Don't force it. Don't force it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Yeah, that's great.
Might come back to visit Abeo, but
yeah, absolutely. Abeo would clearly be absolutely happy to have you back.
Cool.
Yeah, so let's say you pick up both these perfumes. Yeah.
I'm gonna sort of uncork the lavender one and hold that to Hix. Is this the sort of thing you think a 14-year-old girl would appreciate?
Oh.
I don't know. I don't really hang out with those sorts of people.
Neither do I anymore.
I mean, I like it. But
I'm sure.
I mean, she's your sister. Like, you grew up with her. Do you have a relationship with her?
Yes. Yeah, we were. I mean, well, we were somewhat close.
Sure. But you have some sort of positive regard for each other. Would you say that's true? What's your relationship like? I mean, she's your sister.
Yes, she's my sister. I mean, to be honest, I think she might be a little smarter than I am. I've never really felt that I can match up to her. She's very witty, very, very quick, in a way that I sometimes struggle to be. And we get along well, but
your skills are different.
Yes, entirely. She is very accomplished for such a young woman, and I'm very proud of her. But I have found that I haven't shared many of the same interests. She has found difficulty with the life we lived as nobles for different reasons in life. She's chafed against some things that were expected of her, but she's always been very good at navigating those worlds and putting up walls in ways that I wasn't, you know?
I can imagine.
Yeah. She's very ambitious, too. Very ambitious.
Really? What? In what way?
Well, when she was 6, she told me how she wanted to kill the prince and princess and steal and sort of pretend to be them and take over the kingdom. She was 6, so I didn't take it entirely seriously, but she has always talked in that way.
It's a cool idea. I don't think it would work, but it does sound fun for a bit.
Totally, yeah. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's nice. It's very nice perfume. I mean, I've always felt like the best gift is the one that reminds you of her. So, pick that one.
It's a good idea. Thank you. And then he's going to spritz like 7 spritzes of the lavender perfume over himself.
I love it. That's amazing. All right. So, anything else before you guys leave Abeo's shop or anything? Great. So we're gonna do some more downtime, but just for the sake of this, I'm gonna pin what's going to happen after a few more downtime actions. So Aldo, you're gonna be found in the workshop. It's going to be extremely rainy. It's like pouring rain. Maybe this happens maybe the night after, maybe when you're leaving Abeo's, it just starts pouring rain, like hugely thunderous. There's lightning striking out in the bay. And Aldo, while you're in the workshop, you hear squelching footsteps through the mud outside under the Queen's Magnolia. What do you do?
It would not be unlikely that it could be Bram coming back.
Yeah. So you could step out to see him or just wait there?
I think he goes, Bram, look, I have just finished it. And he pulls up, he's holding this weird looking pistol.
Cool.
Come look, and I'll turn around and...
Yeah, you turn around and you see a dog. This is a dog that I am retconning straight into this. So I'm going to say that when you went to the laboratory for the Railjacks, they had a dog. The dog was a scruffy wolfhound named Scrip. And you turn to see, and you see this absolutely sopping wolfhound standing in the laboratory. You recognize it because I'm retconning it. It's gray, it's shaggy, and there's a letter in a leather pouch around Scrip's neck. And he starts barking and stands up on his hind legs to show you this thing.
What? And then I'll unravel it and sort of pet his wet head.
Yeah, great. And as soon as you take the note, he starts barking and spins around as if trying to communicate his sense of urgency. And the note is written in Pike Renfort's hands, and it says, "We need your people's help as soon as you can get here. Our meeting didn't go as planned. We need 2 bodies moved without being seen. One's alive, one's dead." That's the end of the notes.
Okay. And the end of the... Are you
about to do
session?
It? Yes.
How dare you?
Shutting the curtain on the session.
I was like, maybe if I roleplay a little bit, he won't stop it.
I'm going to talk to the dog.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
So, so we'll do some of our downtime before that happens, but that's the end of our session for tonight. Awesome. Guys, thank you all so much for the great session. Thank you to the chat for being there, for all of our conversation that we had. Thank you for your help, Socrates, with the rules, and honestly, with the foundations of at least Western philosophy, really big deal for all.
Thank you so much for that gift.
Yeah, you've really done much more than
solid.
just the rules.
Yeah.
And really, almost the same could be said for Kate at this point.
The foundations of Western philosophy.
Yep.
So we will see you all next week with more of the Contraband. Also on in 2 days, on Sunday morning at 10:30 Central Time, you should absolutely tune in and watch Zoa. It is so fun. They're anthropomorphic animals. It's a delight. And it's been so fun to see that. So please check that out. And subscribe and stuff if you want. And then also we're sending we're gonna send you all on a raid to go visit another channel, which is going to be
Perception Studio. Sending you over here in just a minute.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for being here.